Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second episode of Trails Through the Podcast, a series where we talk about the Trails slash Kiseki games. If you're unfamiliar with this game series, it is a long-running JRPG franchise with insane world building and continuity. I'm more than honored to say that the second guest we're bringing over is none other than King Recon, whose passion for the series is absolutely infectious in the best ways possible. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Man, I appreciate you for the awesome introduction. I just have to say before getting to that, what an honor it is to finally be able to have this collaboration. Like I was telling you a little bit before we started recording, it felt like our paths were always meant to cross, and the fact that I got into Yakuza right before Trails is sort of makes this feel even more surreal on my end. But y'all, this is your boy. You already know what it is, Mr. Goat Raw Fire and Peak, ready to talk about our beloved Trails and Kiseki, man. I can't wait. Let's go.
Hell yeah.
Super excited for it. Thank you so much for having me.
I am so excited. I'm so excited. Thank you for, deciding to join us because, I've seen your videos and every single time that I hop on any of your videos, it's always, just such a blast. To the point where, I genuinely think, I know we just started, but I already have to go crazy with the glaze, okay? I've seen people who watch their videos, they, from what I've heard, they don't even, know the franchise you're talking about, but they just watch the way that you present your videos, and they're completely enamored by it, so you have a talent for this kind of thing, be proud of that.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much for the kind words.
Trails is... Well, where do we even start with a franchise like this? It's... I'm sure special to you. It's special to me. And that's why I figured, we could start with how we both got into the franchise and, what it is that made us stick with it. So why don't you go ahead and start?
Oh, man. So, going into sort of what I was hinting at earlier... So whenever I was younger, I still am a huge anime guy, but especially whenever I was younger, I was really into the long-running ones, which obviously my channel is still for One Piece and stuff, so I'm still into the long-running ones. But especially when I was at that age of middle school, high school, whether it was Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, Naruto, Bleach, Hitman Reborn, all the long-running series, I couldn't get enough of them. Every single one that would come out, I would binge it until I caught up, because it was just something that the long-running series gave me that only those types of series could give me. And obviously, as time went on and my taste started to evolve, and I started getting into a lot of other stories in a whole bunch of different mediums, that would evolve, but sort of my core love for long-running storytelling remained, and I was always hungry to find more things like that. So in 2015, 2 years after starting YouTube, I got into Metal Gear Solid because my subscribers were like, yo, if you like a lot of the stories that you're experiencing here, you would really, really like this. So I was like, okay, bet. I'll go ahead and do that. And that binge catch-up experience sort of opened my eyes to how wonderful video game storytelling could be. Because obviously, growing up, I really loved Final Fantasy VII. Absolutely adored Kingdom Hearts, but I still saw them more as video games, because Final Fantasy VII was my boss battle game, and that all my friends and I would be like, oh, did you beat Ruby Weapon, or did you find this certain Easter egg or whatever? We didn't really focus on the story as much. It was more so just just a video game for us. Same thing with Kingdom Hearts, where it's you were super cool if you beat certain boss fights, whatever, back when I was in middle school. Obviously, as I got older, I came to really appreciate both of those stories for what they are, and they have such a special place in my heart. But at the time, the story wasn't really why I appreciated those games as much as I did. So when I got into Metal Gear, I was like, holy flagnarts. This is what video games are capable of when it comes to telling stories through their respective medium. And right after that, also, again, thanks to our beloved community, I got into Yakuza. And when I got into Yakuza, because of the amount of games that are in that franchise, as you know, and just seeing how, they would interconnect, how certain things would pay off multiple games later, I was like, oh, this is my jam right here. This is exactly what I'm looking for. But even then, by the time I caught up, which was Yakuza 6 at the time, there had only been like 6 entries at the time, aside from the spin-offs. So it was a pretty quick, quote-unquote catch-up experience. Well, 7, because I remember 0 came out like right around when I started catching up to. So around like 7 games. But regardless, it took a little while. We got there, and it was a blast. So then after that, I was like, well, what do I do now? And so about a year passed. I got back on the anime grind extremely hard, started watching a whole bunch of series, but I was still that itch. I needed to scratch that itch for a long-running story. And then my boy Araragi, who's been one of my moderators for God knows how many years, was like, man, have you ever checked out the Trails series? It is something that you would really appreciate as somebody who loves One Piece. And that immediately made me go like, hold on. You can't just compare something to One Piece and just leave it at that. And so the more I was told about it, the more I was sold on it. And then he bought me the first game, Trails in the Sky FC, for Christmas that year. And I was like, all right, I'm going to give it a shot. You bought it for me. I'm going to give it a shot.
And things were never the same again, right?
It's never the same ever again. Never the same ever again. And it came out at the perfect, or I got into it at the perfect time because it was COVID year. So I got into it, COVID hits. All I'm doing is going from work to home, work to home, work to home. So while I'm home and I'm escaping from the reality that's been presented before me, I am playing these games. And it is like a return to like a childlike state that I can only compare to something like Christmas Day, where it, like every single day was like opening up a new presents and hopping on like your PS1 or PS2 and just having the time of your life. That is what catching up to Trails felt like. From Sky FC all the way up until I caught up with Cold Steel 3. That entire journey is something that, number one, I'll never forget, but number two, it came at the perfect time because with everything not only going on in the world, but also with just my sort of like journey through experiencing all these stories, it was like, no, this is what it's all about right here. The stuff that you can only experience at certain points in times. And Trails came number one at the perfect time for me. But as I said before, because of my love for long-running stories in any capacity, it was exactly what the doctor ordered, man. And when you have a transcontinental story like this that spans years and multiple different characters, multiple different side characters, and things pay off. Like something will be set up in the first game, and it won't be paid off for like 5 or 6 games. But when it does finally get paid off, it is the most euphoric experience you could ever ask for. And so, TLDR, holy flagnard, did it come at the perfect time. But at the same time, I'm eternally grateful for those individuals who sort of push me in the direction to really get into video games in general as a storytelling medium, because then that eventually led me into finding Trails, which gave me what I was looking for from an anime standpoint, of like, the exciting and super awesome like stretches of peak that you would find like your favorite story arcs in not just anime and manga, but maybe like movies or books or anything of the sort. I found that within Trails, and I adore it, and I always will adore it.
That's awesome. It is a bit of a surprise to me because while I did watch your videos, there's a lot about you that obviously I wouldn't know. So it is completely new to me that like you were first like an anime person, but then you became like a video game person. And the fact that Trails is one of those games that sort of helped you get into like the video game world. I mean, I don't think you probably think this as well. I don't think there is like a much better game series out there that would help get you into this world. So it's great that Trails is one of those games, but then he also mentioned Metal Gear and Yakuza. Great games all around. For me, I think it was around in 2014, I want to say. Started with FC. 2014, yeah. So played FC. Honestly, a lot of the things you said are already like just exactly how I feel. Like that feeling of being like a kid on Christmas Day, just absolutely ecstatic. You feel a certain magic that is hard to capture playing through these games. And that's exactly what I felt. You know, sometimes I try to be careful not to like speak too highly of the franchise, as weird as that sounds, because like I make it sound like it's something out of this world, which in a way it is, definitely, but it's obviously not perfect. It has its flaws, but goddamn, it's magical. It's beautiful. Playing through Trails in the Sky first chapter, I remember still like when I first played the game on my first session, was playing through the prologue, and I think give or take 11 hours in, maybe 10 hours, I'm not sure. That's when I beat the prologue, even though I don't think it should have taken that long. I don't know why it took that long, but it took like 10 hours. And when I saw like the prologue end screen, I was like, wow. 10 hours for the prologue.
It was just a prologue.
Just the prologue. I don't know what it is, but something about that kind of hooked me into the franchise. As we'll see, you know, going through this podcast as well, you know, the world building, the characters, just the way they write the stories, it's all enchanting. It got someone like me into the franchise, it got someone like you into the franchise. You know, they got something special here, and I'm just like, I'm so glad I got into this franchise. And I'm curious to hear, what was your play order with the franchise? Because you probably talked about it in one of your videos, but I'm not sure I remember, so, you know, might as well talk about it now.
Oh, no, for sure. So I started off right from the beginning, and then I followed it in order until the most recent one had been released, which was Cold Steel 3 at the time. So I went FC, SC, Third, Zero, Azure, and then CS1, CS2, CS3. I just went through it, and I think the main reason why I did it is because once I got really hooked on FC, I wanted to see what happened next there. And then obviously, because of the way that game ends, you really want to know what happens in the next one. So it's like, then that continued, and then I really loved the character, so I was like, no, we're gonna keep this thing going. If the way that I should experience this is in release order, then I'm gonna go in release order. So I went then the Third, and then Zero, and then onwards like that. I'm grateful that I got into the series when I did, because even though Zero and Azure didn't have the ports that they do now, the official ports, the translation that I was able to experience through the Geo front, at the very least for Zero, and then Azure I played the older translation. But at the very least for Zero, it made it feel seamless by the time that I got from one to the other, and then by the time I got to Azure, it felt like I was reading the old manga translations where they were a little off, but there was a sort of charm to that. Similar to how I feel about Yakuza 1's dub, where it's like I really love the charm that's here. I really do.
Definitely.
So it's sort of like that of how my first experience with Azure's translation was. But either way, I was in chronological release order.
Okay.
Or not chronological, but release order.
Right. Yeah, that's nice, because in my case, it was like a bit bizarre, because I played FC, SC, and then I think I played Third, and then this was in 2017. So Third came out in May, I believe, and then in, I want to say August or July, Cold Steel 1 came out, and we didn't have like the official, you know, localization for Crossbell. So I jumped into Cold Steel 1, and I think I played Cold Steel 2 after that. And then after Cold Steel 2, I tried to find like the fan patches for Crossbell. And the patches that I played, they were not, unfortunately, they were not like that good. I think for Zero, it was, I think it was like machine translated, so like you could really tell. It was just a rough translation. But I just wanted to get like the gist of the story, so I pushed on. And then when I played Azure's translation, I can't remember. I don't think it was Geofronts. I think it was something else. That one was better than the translation for Zero that I played, so that was nice at least. But I managed to play it. And then after I was done with that, I think I continued with Cold Steel 3 onwards, you know, just like normally. Cold Steel 3, 4, Reverie, and then obviously Daybreak. So yeah, that's the play order for me.
I can't wait to ask you when we get into when we can talk about spoiler stuff, how you felt experiencing CS, like a certain section of Cold Steel 2, and then going back and getting the context for it
Oh yeah.
in
Oh yeah.
Crossbell.
I did forget to mention at the beginning, I meant to say this, but for the viewers, right now is like the spoiler-free half. You'll probably see it in like the timing of the video. But we are planning to get into spoilers in the second half. I'm not sure how long this is gonna be, but we'll see, like, you know, where the winds take us, as guys would say. Now, I think would be a good time for us to rank our like favorite arcs from top to bottom. Would you want to go first?
Okay. Sure. So I think right off the bat, Erebonia for sure is my favorite, and I think there's a lot of reasons for it. But I think at its core, it's sort of like the way how I feel about like some of my favorite anime and manga arcs, where it's not necessarily anything that the arc does in particular. It's more so it's just the place that feels most like home to me, and it feels weird because I started off obviously with Liberal, and then I went to Crossbell, and then I went to Erebonium. But I think it's because of the amount of time I spent there. I still turn on Cold Steel 1 and Cold Steel 3 all the time, even if it's for like 15 minutes, just to be there. And it's sort of like immediately, no matter what it is that I'm going through in the day, that will bring me back down. And it'll be like we're back home, you know, and everything's going to be all right. But even outside of that, I genuinely just love that arc because of what I was talking about earlier with what I was looking for. Like, the thing that I was looking for internally was like that long running series that has really great payoffs that happen eventually. And the Cold Steel saga, especially in the second half of that saga, has so much long-term payoff that it was like a dream come true when I got to like the latter half of that arc. And so just experiencing all of that, the characters that are there, I have so much love for the music, the boss battles, the gameplay mechanics, so much there that I love from that arc. And then after that it gets really hard because I think all of them are like really close. It's crazy because I think I'm gonna go, even though they're all really, really close to me, after that, I'm gonna say Crossbell arc, because that is I sort of see Crossbell and Erebonia at certain points as like one continuous arc that goes to the other, at certain points.
Yeah.
So I'll have them like neck and neck, but Erebonia 1, then Crossbell. And then this is nostalgia versus recency bias, because my nostalgia for Liberal makes me want to say that, but I've been loving Calvert so much, I want to go with that. So I'm going to say Calvert 3 because of how much I loved Beyond the Horizon, which is a top 3 game in the series for me. The amount of love I have for that game will put it put that at number 3, and maybe by the time the next game drops, they might be up at number 2 or number 1, depending. and then I'll have Liberal. Unfortunately, as much as I love, and it's crazy that I say this because half of my top 10 favorite characters come from Liberal, but I guess that's not the question. For the arcs rankings, I'd probably go that Erebonium, then Crossbell, then Calvert, and then Liberal. But I love them all so much, as I'm sure you do. Insanely hard.
Absolutely. And I mean, again, someone just insanely passionate and positive like yourself, I'm sure like you hold all of these like very, very close to your heart. And understandably so. For me personally, I kind of try to think about a couple of them. Might be like spicy picks, I'm not sure, but very predictably, one might say, I think Sky would be first for me because, you know, nostalgia. It was like my first arc, so it's hard for me not to place it at the first spot. Simple beginnings, you know, they introduce you to the world. They kind of prepare the set pieces. They basically prepare you for this journey. It's kind of difficult for me not to like put it up there. And it does just have like a lot of my favorite moments, my favorite characters and all that. So Yeah, Sky at the top. And in the second place, I know it's not a complete arc yet, but I think Daybreak might be in the second spot.
Nice.
Even though again, it's not complete. But I don't know. I just love the characters there so much. And Calvard, as a country, is pretty interesting as well. Some of the stuff we've seen there also like really intriguing. So I think I'll go with Daybreak in number 2. Number 3. I could not decide if I wanted that to be Cold Steel or Crossbell, but I think I went with Cold Steel because all things considered, like, no offense to Crossbell, Cold Steel is just so monumental. Like, hate it or love it, it's the biggest arc so far. A keyword so far. Calvard might break that, but that remains to be seen. But, Cold Steel just has a lot to it. A lot of payoffs, like you said. It's hard not to give it that respect. So number 3 definitely would be Cold Steel. Number 4, again, no disrespect to Crossbell, but if I had to put something here, I think it would be Crossbell. And now that we talked about the arcs, we can go ahead and pick some favorite characters across the franchise. They could be playable, they could be NPCs, it's up to you. But let's say maybe up to... I want to say, okay, this is going to be difficult because you have like hundreds of characters, but try.
Right.
Like maybe up to 5 characters per arc at the top of your head. Let's start with Sky. Go ahead.
Just looking at the top 10 list I made, I think it was earlier this year or late last year. I think I would still have the same ones, which is Estelle, Kevin, Ren, Olivier, and Louve. I think those are still my top 5 from that arc. And then just to touch upon 2 specifically for this segment, because I know it would be extremely, it would take a lot of time to talk about why I love all of them in depth.
Yeah,
but just for 2 in particular, especially with Sky SC on the horizon, I think, with no spoilers once again, I think Kevin has one of my favorite character introductions that I have ever seen in like any type of story that I've ever experienced, because it is such a slow, long form character introduction that then culminates with a game that is centered around that internal conflict. And I love the way
my man.
Oh, it's like, come on, man. That's our onion. That's our boy.
Hell yeah.
So it's like he has probably, like I said, my favorite character the way that his character was introduced is probably my favorite thing introductions wise from the series, because they just took their time slowly introducing this dude who you have no idea who he is. He's just a really funny guy. And then when you actually see his role and purpose within the story, it is one of the most euphoric and monumental moments that you'll never forget. It's like, oh, that's who he is. And then it's almost as if they knew that he would then become everybody's favorite after that. Then they give him his game. And it's like, oh, now I see how he became this and all that. And I love Kevin Graham. And it's a shame that for so many years our boy was forgotten, but eventually justice was served. I'll just say that. Justice was served.
No spoilers, of course.
Right.
Sorry to interrupt.
Right.
I'm just so happy that they've done him justice in Horizon. I'm just going to say that. Go on.
Yeah. In both story and gameplay.
Yes.
They just captured him so well. So shout out to our boy. And then number 2, who I sort of see as like outside of Estelle, the heart and soul of Sky, which is to me Olivier. Olivier, I wouldn't even just say Sky. I would say maybe for the entire first half of the series, Olivier is like the heart and soul of Trails that keeps it moving forward. There's so much that we can track back to Olivier, from the way that characters are introduced in the series, the way the mysteries evolve within certain characters, how their roles evolve, how that becomes an integral part of the entire Trails experience, how like a thing that a character does in one game has direct effects on what happened like 5 games later. all of that is perfectly represented by Olivier. And like, what an awesome character just from a storytelling standpoint, but also in combat, especially in the remakes. Ah, so good.
Oh yeah.
So good. So
Oh yeah.
I have so much love for our boy. Olivier has always been, especially because he's voiced by Takehito Koyasu, which was the voice for Dio Brando and Takatsuki Shinsuke. For me to now think of Olivier almost first when I think of that role by itself shows how much this character has meant to my journey as a Trails fan. So I would say out of those five, just especially spotlighting those two, and then obviously the Sun herself. Shout out to Estelle, one of the all-time great main characters. I really can't wait for SC to come out so that the world at large can see just how beautiful her character arc is, because it truly is one of gaming's greats. So like Estelle, what an incredible character to have as like your main central focal point, because she affects everything, and then we see how things affect her as well, and that balance, not just her relationship with Joshua too. So it's like she's such a special character for a multitude of reasons, but I think her dynamic with every single member of the main cast and also of the antagonist cast, just what an incredible character. They cooked so hard with Estelle, and like I said, that's why I can't wait for the Sky SC remake to see some of that really come into fruition there.
Same.
And then just
Same.
to quickly highlight on, yeah, man, it's gonna be so good on Ren and my boy the Blade Lord. Ren obviously is Ren's character arc is why I fell in love with Trails. It's what set it apart for me, because once you see the culmination of her character arc, that is what long running stories are all about. It's like you introduce something in one game or in one on a page or whatever, and many years down the line you will see a payoff to that, and that continues to happen with Ren, one of the all-time great Trails characters, probably the saddest backstory, just a phenomenal character in every sense of the word, and continues to do so. And then the Blade Lord, I mean, you want to talk about the personification of not just how well written some of these antagonists can be, but also the coolness factor, the aura factor, one could say.
Oh yeah.
What an awesome character, man.
Truly. Yeah.
What an awesome character in every sense of the word. And I can't wait to see how Louve's scenes get adapted in the Sky SC remake. Man,
Same.
oh man. What a goat.
Same.
An absolute goat. But those are my five.
Right. Do you want to go like you pick your five for the arc and then mine for the arc and then we move to the next, or how, like should you go?
Sure.
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah, let's go arc for arc.
Right. So you said Kevin, Olivier, Ren, Louve, and who was the fifth one? Estelle, right?
Estelle. Yeah.
Okay. Well, funnily enough, my list starts off the same: Kevin, Olivier, but then it kind of, well, actually, there's Kevin, Olivier, and Ren, so 3 of them are the same. But then I have Agate and Richard.
Nice.
I really wanted to put Estelle in here because, first of all, she's the protagonist, but not only that, she's an amazing protagonist. There's every reason for her to be here, but Sky Trails in general just has so many amazing characters that you gotta pick someone if you're asked to pick someone, you know? But I love all of them.
Yep.
Kevin, you basically said what I wanted to say about him, like, the things they've done with this character are amazing. Same thing with Olivier and Ren. And then for Agate, you know, one might argue that he's like a very simple character, maybe predictable, but there's just this like honesty to his character that I really came to appreciate as it kind of developed through the arc. You know, his arc is one that I really enjoyed, even though it's, again, simple, but man, it was so effective. Like, I enjoyed it. It was very heartwarming. It just made me love the character even more. Like, you know, when you first meet this guy, you're like, oh, he's probably just a simpleton, but little did you know that he did have more to him, and I'm glad that they, you know, did what they did with him. So, Agate, great character. And then Richard, man, This guy with the aura farming in the remake was
So
crazy.
good.
And, just based off of what we've seen in, the first game, I just can't wait to see more, like, with the remakes. Richard is such an amazing character. The writing for him is great. Very believable writing as well. Just a lot to appreciate about him, like his backstory, his motivations, like just a lot of things about it. Like, I love Richard so much. Again, he's the GOAT. He's amazing. So yeah, for me, Kevin, Olivier, Agate, Richard, and Ren. Now, how about you round out some of the crossbell characters?
So here it'll be a little easier for me because the main cast takes it for me here in this one.
Okay.
I really love the SSS. Starting off here, I guess I'll go from 5 to 1. Coming in number 5, I would probably give it to Wazi here. I think Wazi's such a cool character because of the way that, similar to Kevin, it's a sort of way of how you slowly introduce someone and then you see like the grander picture of things. Number 1, really cool and hilarious with interactions with other characters. But number 2, I would definitely say the overall thing for Wazi in the grand scheme is just, it's so awesome to me, and just super funny character.
Oh yeah.
Number 4, this is when it gets tough. Number 4, I'm gonna go with Tio because I think Tio. Number 1, I always relied on Tio in combat, and when I rely on a character in combat, I tend to like them. So Tio's I always call them the invincible breaks, where like you would come in and have the 2 invincibility turns. I love that. But also in regards to just the character as a whole, especially with everything regarding the with a certain organization behind everything, like she was the key to so many parts of what made that arc so special. And so massive shout out to Tio there. This is when it gets really tough. Honorable mention to Ellie because she almost made it, but still got a lot of love for her. Number 3, I'm gonna put Risha because it just, number 1 of the coolest combat styles in the entire series, even to this day. Really love the character in combat, but also the mystery of finding out who this character is. To me is, and obviously I'm not going to say anything for spoiler purposes, but it's another slow character introduction that when you finally figure out who they are, it's like, oh man. And I think the character has some really cool moments also in other games that is just really cool. This is where it got really tough for me because it's these are the 2 for me. So I'm gonna go number 2. I'm gonna go with my boy Big Randy.
Yes.
It's crazy because I think Randy is one of the best characters in all of Trails, and I think he's equally as good out of this arc as he is in this arc. So it's like he's such a fantastic character that affects everything. I mean, the way that his family plays a role in all of this, the combat system. It's just that's our boy Randy Orlando, man. And
he is.
So I got a lot of love for him. That's a true brother in the Yakuza way. He would be the Kyodai. You know what I'm saying? He would be our Kyodai.
Most definitely.
So shout out to him. And then number 1, I would have the tie that I've always had. It's not necessarily a tie, sort of a representation of the dynamic between characters, and that is Lloyd and Kia. I think Lloyd and Kia together sort of represent one of the best and most beautiful parts of Trails as a whole. But just to focus on both characters, Kia, obviously a miracle that should not exist but does. And that in and of itself allows for many a different thing to happen within the arc. She's so important to the overall crossbell story. But when you pair her up with not just the SSS, but specifically with Lloyd, it is like Lloyd Bannings, man. You know, there's certain characters that just get you out of your seat and hype, and Lloyd did that for me with so many speeches, so many moments. He's the hype man. He's the barrier guy. He told me to go run through a brick wall to make something happen, I'm gonna do it because it's Lloyd Bannings. All right, so I just got a lot of love for the cast, man, and just real quick, want to give a shout out to Zeit, whom I love so much. Dudley, super fun character. Sergey, like, come on, man, it's what a squad. The entire vicinity of Crossbill was so many beautiful and great NPCs. Shout out to Anton. Just so many great characters. I'll leave it at that, but God, so many good characters in Crossbill.
So many characters and trails in general, like, it's gonna be difficult picking some of these, but first of all, I have a confession. I actually didn't order them in, like, a specific order like you did, so I'm sorry about that.
Okay. Yeah, I only did it for this one. And the first one, I was just spitting out names. For this one, I was like, let me do this one in order.
Okay, well, I respect that you had, you know, the quickness to actually do it, because I'm just kind of, like, writing names that I actually do like, but I'm just writing names for the most part. So, one character that we do share is Randy, the goat.
Our boy.
He's just that guy. He's like an amazing brother figure, and his backstory is pretty compelling. He's funny, he's charming, but he also, you know, is serious when the situation calls for it, so he has to be in there. And then another pick that we do share is Tio. She's funny in a different way from Randy. She's like very, whereas Randy is like sometimes the loud kind of funny, Tio is the opposite. She is just charming in her own way. I really do like her. And then there's a couple of characters you gave a shout out to that I actually have here for the top 5. One of them is Dudley. Now listen, Dudley.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out. Like, listen, his S-craft alone justifies me having him here. Okay, Justice Hammer is the GOAT. I love Justice Hammer so much. Probably my favorite S-craft in all of, like, Zero or Azure, maybe even, like, just the Crossbill arc altogether. It's so good. I know he, like, is as a character, he doesn't have as much to him as the other characters, but honestly, sometimes that exact simplicity is something that attracts me to the character more than the average person probably would like that character. So Dudley definitely is going to be on this list for me. I tried to think of like an NPC that I am very fond of, because I don't want to make this just about, like, the playable characters. And I decided to go for Sergey. This dude is... I know he kind of comes off as, you know, he pushes his jobs onto you, but at the end of the day, he kind of has everyone's back. He's, you know, that kind of character that feigns being lazy, but is actually looking out for you. And he's a great father figure for the SSS as well. He has his moments, you know, I really do like him. And last but not least, I'm gonna go with Garcia.
Oh, great pick! Nice.
Man, Garcia is so cool to me that I really wanted to see more of him. I am happy with what they did with him, but he is a character that sort of left me feeling like I want more from him. There's one particular moment in Azure, we'll get to it later. We'll get to it later, but he's rigid, but he has his own, like, you know, code of honor. And with him, that's my Crossbill list. Randy, Tio, Dudley, Sergey, and Garcia. So, are you ready to move on to Cold Steel?
Yes. I will say for this one, I'm gonna let you go first because I already know what mine are, and I'm so curious on hearing yours because I don't know if we're gonna have the same ones. So I'll let you go first on this one since this one is my favorite arc.
Right.
So curious.
I actually wrote down a few of them, and I'm just missing one of them. But for the time being, I will, you know, talk about the ones that I did write down. So first of all is Usis. Usis surprised me. Honestly, Usis surprised me a lot. Like, I know that they were going to develop pretty much all of the Class 7 members, but Usis surprised me. He had growth that honestly exceeded what I expected. Like, in my opinion, I think he just might have the best development arc out of everyone in Class 7. He goes through a lot. The change in character is just amazing. There's a lot I could say, but I don't want to get, too much into spoilers. He's just amazing. I love him. And with uses out of the way, might have to give a shout out to Emma.
Let's go. She's also in mine.
Oh, okay. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, Emma is, like, not gonna lie, at first, she was kind of, a hit or miss. Like, she was okay. She was there. But again, as like the games went on, again, they started to do just a lot more for her, and she became another one of my favorite Class 7 members. A lot of potential in, like, some of the things they could have done, but again, what they did do, I liked. I do like how she plays in combat, and again, also her role in the story. I feel like it's almost impossible not to pick this one, but McBurn.
Let's go. Our boy.
McBurn is very interesting, to say the least. Like, very intriguing guy. At first, you might be like, oh, he's just a guy that likes getting into fights. But once again, as the games go on, you're like, wait a minute. There's more to this guy. There's more to this guy in a way that's intriguing, like almost no other character. You get enveloped in this mystery. And this mystery is what makes him such a good character. If I speak anymore, it's gonna be spoiler territory, so I'm not gonna do that. Next up, I will pick C from Reverie.
Oh,
He surprised me.
legend.
He surprised me a lot.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to start with this character because he also, like McBurn, is very easy to kind of get into spoiler territory with, so I'm not gonna do that. But I'm just gonna say, amazing character, amazing arc. Really, really enjoyed what they did with him. So, good job, Falcom. And now for the fifth pick, which I'm gonna be honest, I don't have this one written, so I'm gonna have to come up with something right now. And I might go with, would it be crazy if I go with Osborne?
No, because he's on my list.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Because Osborne is also, I feel like, one of those characters, like, you love him or hate him, he's a character that's been set up throughout the whole franchise. They did a lot to build this character, and he has a big presence, not just in Cold Steel, but like in the previous arcs as well. And that presence is very powerful. Like, whenever he's on the screen, he just kind of suffocates the room. Maybe there's a couple of things they could have done better with him, but in spite of that, I think I really do like this character. So yeah, Eustace, Emma, McBurn, C, and Osborne. What about you?
So for this one, I couldn't keep it to just 5. This is gonna be 10 for me.
Go for it.
But I'll be running through the first few very quick because the one that I want to spend the most time on is the main pick that I went with. So we also have Emma. We were 1 for 1 on Emma and Osborne because man, oh man, absolutely, and C. So for those 3, definitely we are cooking with those 3.
Let's go.
Love those characters so much. Emma, similar to Tio and Crossbell, was like one of my main back pocket. You have to be my team at all times. She's just so clutch in combat. So. I just have to give a special shout out to Vita because I really love Vita. I love so many things, but I don't want to get into spoiler territory. Vita is so much fun, and then obviously my boy Crow. So I'll give a shout out to those characters, and then get into now my main favorite part of the arc, which is the entirety of Class 7.
Okay.
So the like from the top, right? Like Reen, Yuna, Kurt, Ash, Muse, and Altina, and then of course Valimar. So each of those I count as like 1 because from a certain point in the arc onwards, they're all reflections of what the other need and what they lack. And I just really love how... So, before I got into Trails, a story that impacted me really, really hard was a series called Gintama, which is an anime similar to the Daybreak Saga that has a character who is doing like odd jobs and and things of that sort. But a main central focal point of that story is how encounters between certain people will then give a sort of, as Gintama calls it, did I pick you up or did you pick me up? A sort of, this is, our relationship is based on equality, where there's so much that I'm going through and you're helping me through that even if you don't know it. Even though they're at completely different points in their lives, that is how I feel about Reen's relationship with New Class 7. Mm-hmm. And it is my favorite dynamic in the entire story. I love these characters so much because not only do they feel like family, but mm-hmm. they start off in such a rocky way. There's so many mysteries that are blossoming between each and every one of them. Mm-hmm. But when you really hone down into it, they all need each other. They all need Reen, and Reen needs them more than they need him. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's that blossoming beauty that continues to progress throughout that latter half of that saga that really set this series apart for me, where by the time you start getting into some really, really cool stuff in the latter half of the saga, it means so much more because of this dynamic that's been placed between these characters. So I'll talk about that whenever we get into more spoiler stuff later, but the entirety of NC7 would be my favorite characters of this arc. I have so much love for them. They're my favorite cast in the series, and they're one of my favorite casts of all time. It's just, I really, really adore them. Next is Daybreak.
Right. Yes. Next up is Daybreak. And do you want to start with this one, or should I start with it?
I can start.
All right. Go for it.
So there's a few that I have in mind right off the bat. So starting off the list, I gotta start with Shizuna. Okay. For obvious reasons. Anybody who wields a sword in a really cool way, as you've seen from a good part of my lists, is going to end up making it on there. And there's almost no character this side of Reen that looks as cool as Shizuna when she's rocking the sword. So yeah, for that reason alone, also probably my favorite person to use in combat, maybe even in the entire series. Like, she's just so much fun to use in combat. I have a lot of love for Rosette. I think Rosette is not only a really interesting character, but also takes certain parts of like a lot of other parts in the story, and then takes that into one specific character. And I can't imagine my party without Rosette. Like, she's so important to the party when I'm playing as the characters and in combat. This one is in no order. Then after Rosette, I would go with. Man, this is tough. So many great characters.
It is tough. It really is.
I'm gonna go with Eren. I love Eren. Eren is, number one, so much fun, but similar to Randy, very Kyodai-esque. Yeah. With his relationship with Van. Even just with his entire story arc. Like, I feel like that chapter in the first game was so integral to me falling in love with the Daybreak saga. So I just have so much love for Eren. Super cool S-Craft too. Super craft. Yeah. And then obviously my last two is undoubtedly going to fall down on. And this is tough, man. Honorable mention to Elaine, because I have so much love for Elaine. A lot of love for a multitude of characters. Shout out to Amelia. So many great characters in the arc. But last two is definitely going to be Van and Agnes. Agnes is such a great character, similar to what I was just talking about with Reen in New Class 7. It's that, but with Van and Agnes. Like, they picked each other up at the perfect time that each of them needed each other in a very, to go back to anime, it would be like a very Gon and Killua-esque way, a very Johnny Joestar and Gyro Zappelli-esque way. Like, it's just, they move so well as a duo that is consistently teaching the other something the other is lacking and or needing. Yeah. And if I could just focus on Van for a quick second. Yeah, go for it. Once again, going back to Gintoki. Going back to Gintoki, and my love for both Gintoki and Kiryu, in Gintoki and Yakuza respectively, is why I love Van. That's sort of, this character has a past you don't know about yet, but we're going to sprinkle it in as they continue to meet these characters that are going to become very, very important to them. So similar to how we've seen Kiryu's journey in the second half of the series is sort of how we're getting the current modern day Van version of that. And it's just, I love it so much, man. The way that Van has had so many different, his hand has been in every cookie jar, and we didn't even know it. And while at the same time being the coolest dude, such an incredible person to use in combat. But it's just he's the heart and soul of the arc. And when the side quests start meshing into one another and evolving, when something happens with Van and like a random NPC, and you know that's enough to make you emotional, you've got a good MC on your hands, man. So Van is just, that's my guy. I'll never forget the first time I saw him in a screenshot, and I was like, we got our Gintoki, and we really do have our Gintoki in Trails. So shout out to my boy Van Arkwright, man. One of the GOATs.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, I think that I'm going to start off the list with Van as well. Van is just so good as an MC. Like, when I first played Daybreak 1, like, it didn't take long for me to just really like him. He's funny. He is, like, compared to the other protagonists, you know, he starts off more experienced, so that also adds to the charm that he has. He is a bit cynical as well, like more cynical than the other protagonists, definitely. And his outlook on life, at least at first, feels a bit darker than the other characters. So again, he kind of has these things that do set him apart in a way that I found charming. You know, as the games go on, he interacts with all of these other characters, party members. Without realizing it, he does slowly change. And seeing that change is very nice. Obviously, gameplay-wise, he is insane, so Van, definitely in the top 5. For the second pick, might be predictable, but I'm going with Elaine.
Nice.
I want to say things, not just with Elaine, but like, even with some of the other previous characters, I really want to say things, but I can't because this is still like the spoiler-free
I feel you.
Yeah, dude, Trails in general, like you want to say things, but you can't. It's one of the most tantalizing parts about just being a fan of this franchise, but that's the price we have to pay for being Trails fans.
Facts.
So Elaine, a very sweet character. I also personally find her gameplay-wise to be very fun and just very good. Her interactions with the other characters are also nice. You could argue maybe they didn't spend too much time highlighting her as much as the other characters, but I feel like in spite of that, I wouldn't say they've done a horrible job. And again, the arc is still not finished, you know? So maybe they can do more. Like, really, it's a bit of a key word with Daybreak. It's not finished yet, so there's a lot they could do, and they could just swipe the carpet from under us and just surprise us. The third pick might be kind of... what's the correct adjective for this? I'm going with Renee. I'm going with Renee.
I love it.
Look, even before Horizon, I really liked Renee. Even though he was not involved that much, he was kind of in the background, you know, supporting you, kind of looking out for you. And he and Van have this very mature romance. You know, they look out for each other.
Yeah.
They just have this, like, brotherly bond that is kind of special to them. Different from, like, say, Lloyd and Randy, where Randy looks at Lloyd as, like, a little brother that he kind of sometimes will spoil and tease. With Van and Renee, it's very different. It's kind of like they're brothers of the same age who just kind of treat each other seriously a lot of the time. And even when they don't, their humor is kind of dry in a way that's, in my opinion, good. Even gameplay-wise, Renee is pretty fun for me. I want to give a shout-out, not a pick, just a shout-out to Qasim. I never expected that I would pick him. He had a rough start in Daybreak 1, but I see the vision now, let me just say. So, shout out to Qasim. I came to like him. And now for the fourth pick, I might actually go with Yorda. I was not...
Oh, nice. Good pick.
Thank you. Yeah, I wasn't sure about her at first, but let's just say over the course of the games, I really came to enjoy her character. So And for the final pick, kind of like Cold Steel, I actually didn't write a fifth one, so I'm gonna have to think at the top of my head here. It's just like you said, Daybreak has a lot of good characters. Trails in general just has a lot of good characters. It's kind of difficult to pick. But, okay, might be a silly pick. I don't know, but I think I might actually pick Yume, because in a way, she's very central to this arc.
Yeah.
Like, when the group comes back to her from their, like, journey to, like, a city or a quest that they have to do, when they come back to her, it's almost like a reward for them, just seeing her, spending time with her. She's a wonderful character. I think I will pick her here for the time being. Like, see, with Trails, if you were to ask me tomorrow, oh, pick your top 5 Daybreak characters,
It's
my my answer might change. Like, legitimately, it might change. But for the time
100%.
being, I'm gonna go with Yume.
Yeah, I feel you. It changes on the day, on the moment, on the hour, whatever you're in the mood for. That's the way it is with Trails.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, well, we're done with characters, and now we can move on to our favorite setting across the 4 arcs, and you might also explain why. I think you already said you picked Cold Steel, right?
Yes. I think so. The thing with this question in particular is it really is about which one feels most like home. And when I think about Trails in my journey with the series, I'm either thinking of Trista or Leaves. I'm just personally, because like Trista, the music that plays in Trista legitimately feels like one that would be playing in like a grocery store that like I were to go to in a very weird way. It's just so soothing, and I adore the way that it looks, that it feels. And similarly with Leaves, it's because of just the way that it feels like home. And like even though Crossbell I think is the one that I would lean on next in regards to the entire world, similar, I would feel the same way about Calvert as well, where the entire world truly feels alive and you can go up to the NPCs and the way the series always does the updates, and you want to know what each character is talking about. It's especially in Calvert, because there's so many great side quests that really enhance and enrich the world. But just from a personal standpoint, if I could only pick one to either A, live in, or B, just be in series-wise, it's either Trist or Leaves in Erebonia, man. It's the music. I can't lie to you, it's the music.
No.
It keeps me coming back every time.
Absolutely. No. Dude, the Cold Steel 1 music is insane. Like, it is one of those soundtracks across the franchise that is, like, it's very consistently amazing. The Cold Steel 1 soundtrack in general. I also have a big fondness for it, so I understand. Well, if we're talking about the feeling of home, I think I would go with Liberal, if we had to go with that theme specifically. I played through the original Sky Trilogy multiple times. Just the music switching from, one city to the other, just kind of feels like you said, home. It's very comforting, very soothing. But in spite of that, there might be a contender now with Edith in Calvert, but I don't know. I might want to wait until the arc finishes before I decide on that. So I think for the time being, I will just go with Liberal. Like, I'm not sure if I'm gonna pick like one city from there, because Liberal is already sort of small. So I'm just gonna go with Liberal as a whole. I find it very soothing personally.
I gotta give a shout out to Edith at Night. I think Edith at Night is like, it's so good, man.
Yes,
Love
absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely gorgeous. So we're gonna move on to a bit of a loaded question, away from like favorite stuff. We were gonna talk about the positives and negatives that come with a long-running series like Trails, and if it helps, I can start with this one if that's fine.
Okay.
So with the positives, I tried to think about it a little bit, and I wrote down 2 things. There's definitely more, but the Trails games, with how long they are, the continuity is almost unparalleled. Like, it's obviously not just about like, the franchise having like, I don't know, 20 games or whatnot, but Trails is very thorough and careful with how they write the story. That's what makes it special.
Yeah.
Now you combine that with many games, and you just again you have like this unparalleled continuity. It's amazing. You don't really see it that much in other game series, I want to say. Obviously, because it's also a long-running franchise, you have a lot of games to play. So some may see that as a positive. And on the downside, when you have such a humongous franchise, that might intimidate newcomers, which is why Falcom are geniuses to remake the very first games right now. Like, I've seen so many people in the past year or two get in with the remake of FC, and now we have SC coming along, which is only going to help them. Great move from Falcom, and it really also does help that these remakes are not just kind of cheap. They have a lot of love put into them.
Yeah.
It's great. This one I feel like depends on the person, because someone like you, for example, you said that you got into Trails because you love long-running stories. But
yep,
again, it just comes with a long-running franchise that some segments might feel a bit daunting until you reach a segment that might have a better flow. Let's put it that way. And also, one of the negatives that I remember you actually mentioning is some of the voice acting setbacks. Like, you'll have cutscenes that are half-voiced, right? So yeah, that's what I wrote. Do you have anything on your end that I mention?
Oh no, I love that. I love that you mentioned the voice acting thing, because that is a really big thing for me. That one in particular, there's certain games where it doesn't feel as bad, but then there will be certain points and sections where one character will be speaking and the other three are not, and it just feels very jarring at times. So that's definitely a major setback that. And I understand why, due to budget restrictions and things of that nature. But it's still a setback for sure. I would say my main positive and negative are two sides of the same coin, and that is commitment. Trails, as you said, is so incredibly committed to telling the story the way they're telling it that it ends up being a positive and a negative. On a positive side of things, the long-term payoff for so many of these moments are generational. You will never feel anything like this in anywhere else, because it is so unique to what we're doing here. You're actually playing as these characters, and when they have these moments that have been built up for game on game on game on game, when you have a really, really emotional moment or a hype moment or whatever it is, and you're actually in the process of playing it, it's unreal and unlike anything else. My issue with it from a commitment standpoint is the same issue I have with long-running stories in general, and which is the inability to commit to certain parts of the vision. And what I mean by that is, for example, certain characters not staying dead is a huge thing in Trails. Huge thing in Trails.
We're already going there, huh?
It's also a huge problem. Right. So, but it's also a huge problem within One Piece. It's a huge problem in Dragon Ball. It's a huge problem in Bleach. It's a huge problem. It's a problem in almost every long-running story, because you don't want to kill off the popular character. You don't want to kill off somebody that will have a major moment down the line. And I'm not saying that you can't pull it off successfully. This series has brought back characters and gave them legendary moments. There's no doubt about that. It's just, when done in the succession that it happens, especially towards the latter half of the last few entries that we've had, it gets a little crazy. I'm not gonna say it takes away from the tension, but there's a part in the back of your head that's maybe they're not really dead, because of what's been led up until this point. So that's definitely a drawback in certain points. Like I said, Trails has been pretty good at keeping characters alive and giving them something to A, do, and B, give them a reason for still being alive. But there's also a drawback to that as well. So that's because we see how powerful death can be in the series itself. There are characters, with no spoilers, that have died, and we see the repercussions of that we still feel to this day. So it's definitely a give or take when it comes to that. but also when it comes to even though I love it because it is one of my favorite parts about the games is getting to know the characters and know the world. I can see how some would be burned out from the first game formula that they all follow. So every first game in the series all follow a very similar thing of how you get to know the world and the way that the side quests are structured, the way that the games are structured. For me, I think that repetition works because it gives you something to fall back on as a formula. Like, okay, now I'm going to focus on getting to know the characters, getting to know the world, and I don't have to worry about getting used to a brand new system here. Now my full attention and focus is on this. But I can see how that would become repetitive and or be something that, especially in a series of like all these games, how doing the same thing over and over again can most certainly hamper that experience. The way that I view it is if I was reading a manga or something, this is like me waiting for the next chapter to load or switching from page to page. The act of me switching from page to page is like doing a repetitive side quest or going out and doing whatever, something I may not want to do, but at the end of that side quest is something really rewarding that I'm going to be so glad that I did. And I think they've done such a great job with that in Calvard, where each side quest feels like, number one, it leaves you feeling really rewarded, but number two, it feels like it should have always been there to begin with. Some of those side quests feel like they shouldn't have been side quests at all.
Yeah,
They should have been a part of the main
definitely.
story.
Yeah.
So it's the give and take of a long running series, man. You know, because of all that content, it can definitely slow the pacing of it all down, but it all adds on to the grander picture, and that's why I love this series so much, because there's so much for us to do in these games that you can either A, skip it all and just mainline it, or B, if you take your time with it, it will allow all of the other stuff to hit that much harder because you have a connection to everything.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what happens in the next game for us to have another conversation about this commitment angle, because I'm so curious.
Oh yeah.
But we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
For some reason, I'm not sure if I expected you to bring up the death point. I fully understand it, and I also think that it is something they could definitely handle better. So for the next question, which is kind of similar, but what do you think of the current state of Trails with it being 13 games and counting into the main story now? Obviously not counting the remakes or Nayuta.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's in a good place? Are you maybe hoping to see a specific location for an upcoming arc? What do you think?
There's two ways for me to approach this. I love the direction we're heading in right now as finishing Horizon, because it's just so exciting. There's so many different things that could happen that it feels unpredictable. Like, I genuinely don't know what's on the other side of this door. So it is in a very good place in that way. What I don't know is what happens after. So let's just say, hypothetically speaking, if we do, which we have to, get another arc and or segment after this, I'm curious as to how we continue with this story post whatever this next game is. Specifically from like a story structure standpoint. I have been seeing and noticing that Kondo and the team during the interviews have been talking about how Sky SC, the Sky FC remake sort of reminded them of how grounded the series used to be, and used to be able to tell stories in a very simple way, and they said they want to get back to doing that at some point.
Oh, I'm not sure if I saw that.
I'm curious how they would.
That's interesting. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so I don't remember the exact verbiage, but they were basically talking about how remaking Sky FC reminded them of the simplicities of how beauty can shine in simplicity, and they're the way I took it is they're going to try to see how they can do that in the main narrative now. So the way I'm taking it is I'm curious as to how they're going to balance that, considering how ambitious Trails has gotten post Erebonia.
Oh yeah.
Because post Erebonia, there's just so many crazy concepts and things, and they've been there from the beginning, right? Like, we think back to Sky the Third. Sky the Third is one of the most nuts like concepts you could ever think of.
Yeah.
It is such a crazy concept.
Yeah.
So they've always been there, but they're so incredibly prevalent with the narrative now that I'm curious as to how they're going to balance that simplicity with the ambition, the way that that I think they're going to do so. As far as the way that current things are going, I couldn't be happier with it, man. For on all fronts, I think, especially with the last game was so much fun to play. It was so much fun to experience as just like as a fan. And then it was also one of those like, this is genuinely great. Like, this isn't me just being a fanboy for fanboy's sake and all these really awesome moments. Like, we are cooking here with really, really good material that could lead into something magnificent in its next entry. So I think the current state is really, really nice, and we get to see how they've sort of been playing around post-Reverie with a lot of different ideas and concepts, and I feel like now we're starting to see all of that come into fruition.
Yeah.
So I think Trails, in terms of the story itself, is in a good place. And then overall, thanks to the remakes, I think financially they've got to be in a really good place too, which is going to be good for us as fans to see really cool stuff they can experiment with in regards to, for example, the animations. Like Beyond the Horizon and Sky FC remake had the animations were so top notch. Where I was like, I can't believe this. This is insane.
Yeah.
So if it can continue being that Ouroboros loop of no pun intended of like feeding into itself and like, so the more money that they make, the more greatness we get. I think we're going to be in a good place for the Trail series for sure.
One thing that really reassured me personally is playing Sky FC remake for myself. I was really worried because, again, Sky is, like we said before, my favorite arc. I was really worried how they were going to handle the remake because, you know, in general, there's always concerns around remakes. Like, are they going to handle it well? Is it going to be one-to-one? How many liberties are they going to take with it? Like, how much are they going to change? And to my surprise, it's almost one-to-one, but not really. They did add a couple of things that are inoffensive. I think literally like a couple of side quests or something like that. Like the way they added them, it felt natural. I don't feel like it came off as like forced or just not fitting whatsoever. After seeing how they handled FC Remake, I have absolute confidence in SC Remake, and hopefully the third is not gonna suffer and will follow also the same fate of just being amazing. And I'm not sure if they're gonna go beyond that, like with Crossbell, but I feel like there's a good chance since they also happen to be of like a very similar style of games with like the chibi art style. I'm actually curious, up until which game would you hope for them to remake? Would that be maybe up until Cold Steel 2?
Yes. And the main reason why I say that is because even though I find the art style of everything up until that point really charming, it is like a humongous change going from Cold Steel 2 to Cold Steel 3. It almost feels like a whole new series.
Yeah, it really is.
So
yeah.
It definitely could use it. And like, just imagine playing in the Sky FC combat system and animation style for stuff like Azure or Cold Steel 2. It's like, so good.
Dude, seeing the animations for Sky FC, it boggled my mind in a way that is hard to describe. Like, I was like, wait, this arc was so simple and they're doing all this cool stuff. No way, man. Like, you know, like, it's a strange feeling, but it's just, it ended up being so amazing. Like, seeing, again, all the animations and all this color and life being put into the cities and the characters. They've done such an amazing job. Like, I can't stress that enough. And, you know, not to bring down other stuff in place of something, but this just makes me look at something like the Yakuza Kiwami games, and, you know, they do have good things about them, but if I were to compare the Trails remakes to the Yakuza remakes, there's a big difference. I'm just gonna say that. Uh, and
Agreed.
I'm pretty sure they flat out did say as well, like, the Kiwami games are budget titles. I mean, Yakuza games did not have, like, the AAA game budget. Maybe now they do, because, you know,
Right.
it's one of their biggest sellers now.
Right.
But once upon a time, Yakuza maybe had, like, a double A game budget, if I had to guess, or maybe a single A, I'm not sure. And the Kiwami games had even less of a budget, so again, there are good things about the Kiwami games, but seeing the love put into the Trails remakes, I'm just so happy about it. Like, thank you, Falcom, thank you, Kondo. I did want to ask something that's not related to this, and I'm curious to hear what you have to say. When do you think a long-running franchise becomes too long?
Ooh. I think it depends because obviously you're asking a One Piece fan, and we are, and I think that that the length that we're probably going to end off at is going to be a perfect length, which is going to be like 1,500 chapters, which is insane, or like 1,000 something episodes. But it makes sense within the context of the narrative. So it all depends, right? Like there's some novels that have gone on for 15 books, 10 books, where some of them could feel too long, or whether it was perfect for that franchise. I think at the very least, when it comes to video games, as long as there's a vision and there's clear progression in the way that Trails is, like Trails for me feels like it is the perfect length for what it is. And just adding, like, I don't know, I'm gonna assume 3 to 6 more games. So if we add on top of that, and then of course not counting the remakes, because I'm gonna assume they're gonna keep remaking it and making money off of it. But just in terms of the length that we're looking at, so let's just say 20 games for this franchise, give or take. I think that's perfect for this type of series, considering it's what it's trying to do and what it's trying to accomplish. Now, if it was something like, I don't know, 40 games, 50 games, and it's a series like this where you need continuous continuity, and you have to pay $60 for each one unless you're in a Falcom sale, then
man.
it's like, all right, then we're stretching it a bit, you know? We might be stretching it there a bit.
100%.
But I think it's like the perfect length because, especially with those Falcom deals, I mean, you'll pay like $9, $19, like for some of these games, and that's a steal, man. That's like 100 hours of gameplay for $20.
Yeah, easily.
Not bad at all. I think they understand that, which is why they continue to do those deals. But I also think that's why they structure the games in the way they do, to keep you wanting to keep going. And I think that's something so unique to Trails, where I've noticed when people, especially nowadays, get into Trails, they'll get into it, and by the time they finish Sky FC, they don't just buy Sky SC. They're like, oh no, I'm buying SC, the third, Zero, Azure, like, they're locked in. And I think that's because of the way the series has been structured. Even though it is long, the arcs, all things considered, are relatively short. Sky, 3 games. Crossbell, 2 games. Erebonia, 5 games. Calvert, we're looking at 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So, give or take, if you split them in arcs, doesn't feel that long or that bad. Now, if Erebonia was like 15 games, it's like, well, damn, you know, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But I think it's because of the way they structured it, and specifically because each arc takes place in a new location with new characters, new story. It makes it feel fresh, and I feel like when you do it that way, it doesn't feel as long as it should feel. It feels like we're right where we need to be.
They did say, I'm pretty sure you heard about this as well, but they said that they're planning to wrap things up by 2032, and you can't ignore the... Yeah, you can't ignore the remakes in that equation, so it's kind of hard to imagine. Like they're either gonna sacrifice crossbow remakes, or they're not gonna wrap things up by 2032. So I'm not sure which one it's gonna be, but like, what do you think about that? I just don't feel like it's possible.
I think it's cap. Like,
Same.
Full stop. I think they don't know what they're talking about. Like, first of all, just to finish whatever comes after Horizon feels impossible by 2032 by itself.
Yeah.
Let alone the entire series.
Yeah.
So, we're probably getting the next game, the next mainline entry next year. That's my assumption. So going by trail standards, normally when that happens, it's about 2 years before we start a new arc slash the transitional arc game. So whatever this arc's reverie is probably going to take like a year or two to develop, and that'll be by then 2029. And then when we start officially the final, quote unquote, final arc, if it even is the final arc, then that's going to take to wrap up all of this, man. It's going to take at least 3, 4, or 5 games.
Yeah.
And you divide those by, even if you do them by a year, that's still like 2034, 2033, 2035. You know, so.
Yeah.
It's I don't see it personally.
Same.
I think they were just waffling, talking nonsense.
Yeah. It's really difficult to see it just ending in what, 6 years from now. If you factor in the remakes as well, again, it's I don't think it's happening either. Man, so going away from this. Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say my bad. I was gonna say unless go on. Horizon 2, unless this next entry has the most insane plot developments where we can realistically be like, oh man, we could actually finish this in like 3 games. Like, unless that happens, maybe, but I highly doubt it. Highly doubt it.
See, I want to have faith and say that they will do that, but at the same time, you know, before Daybreak we had Cold Steel, and Cold Steel really took its time to wrap like as many loose ends as it could, so I don't think it's impossible that they could end it with Horizon 2, but I feel like it's going to be difficult.
They can't. It's just not possible.
Yeah, well, yeah. I want to ask you something. Like, I'm coming up with a bunch of questions that are not in the script, I know, but, like, bear with me. Are you in the camp that's going to go feral if Horizon 2 is not next year? Or are you in the camp that's like, no, just bring on the Sky remakes. I'll play them and have fun.
I think the beauty of being a fan of so many series that are in hiatus hell, so like Nana, Vagabond, Berserk, so many of these series, they've taught me endless patience, man. So if Trails doesn't drop a game until like 2030, I would be okay, just because I'm so used to it. But I will say, the way Horizon 1 ended was so unbelievably nasty that if I don't get an answer to it within the next few years, I might explode. You know?
Honestly,
so it's
if the Sky
crazy.
remakes were not as amazing as they were, I think it would be harder waiting.
Yeah, definitely.
What do you think are some areas that the series could use some work on?
Just in general?
Yeah, in general. Anything they can think of.
One area is definitely with the brand new gacha system elements that we've introduced in these last few games. I think Reverie did such a great job of incentivizing you to play the gacha dungeon. Because you could get so much from it, man. Like, get the doors, and not just the stuff that's in the doors, unlock characters. The post-game content of Reverie was, like, out of this world incredible.
Yeah, it was.
Whereas I look at something like Horizon, and even though I really appreciated the dungeon system there, I feel like the incentives weren't as appetizing as, like, Reverie's was.
Yeah.
And I sort of understand why, because they don't want to give everything to you right off the bat. But at the same time, that is something that they could definitely improve on in the next game. Is to make you want to go through that dungeon crawling system with there being a reward at the end. And there was a massive reward at the end. Really, really cool scenes. But the journey to get there can feel a bit repetitive just because you're doing a lot of the same stuff. Whereas like Reverie, I felt like it was really refreshing because of those elements that that were at play there. I think another element that I would say is, and they've already started working on this in Horizon, is pre-Horizon, there was like a certain formula to their boss battles, at the very least in Calvard, whereas once like Crimson Sin, that final boss fight kind of changed the game for the series, and then we got so many good elements of that in the following game that that was something that I wasn't really a gripe, but it was something that I thought about, because Trails has some of my favorite boss fights ever, but that's mainly because of how like nothing to do with the mechanics of the boss fight, but more so like the story surrounding that boss fight.
Yeah.
Whereas like Crimson Sin and Horizon sort of like now the mechanics of the boss fight are matching the intensity and epicness of what's happening in the story. So like the boss fights have been getting so incredibly insane, and I just want them to keep evolving on that. And give us some of this really, really cool boss sequences. And keep doing what Calvert has been doing with the side quests, man. Because the side quests have been so good. Horizon side quests are top tier, man.
Yeah.
So if we could just keep evolving on that and giving us real incentives to want to go out and seek out these additional stories, I think we'll be in a good place. So I think Horizon already answered some of the stuff that I was already thinking about that they could improve on and move forward with. But one question I guess I have for the final part of this story as we get into the rest of it is how they're going to pace. It's tough to bring this up without spoilers, but let's just on a grander scheme.
Yeah.
If we have more characters in this next game and for what's to come, how are we going to balance all of that and still have it feel nice? Still have it feel like it's compact.
Yeah, I get you.
I don't envy Falcom, but it's going to be tough. But if anybody can pull it off, it's them. So we'll see.
I feel like, just like you said, nobody probably envies Falcom at the moment, because I feel like what they have to do for Horizon 2 possibly exceeds what they had to do for Cold Steel 3, 4, and Reverie in terms of expectations.
Facts.
Like, I've been seeing, like, just the community in general, how do I even describe it? Like, Horizon just kind of gave us things that we didn't expect to see, and, with these things, you expect certain things to come in Horizon 2, but the question is, are they going to arrive, or are they not? And if they don't, it might just be anticlimactic, and, we don't want that. But yeah, I don't want to get too much into spoilers, and I did want to mention one thing that I think could use some working on. This might feel ironic, maybe, considering the franchise that we're talking about, but reducing fluff text. Now, put down your pitchforks, don't attack me.
Agreed.
What I mean by that...
I agree. I agree.
See, let me explain myself, dear viewers, but they have a habit, and I don't think it's like anything new, per se, but they have this habit where, like, say the characters are talking about something, any given topic, they're talking about something. They talk about a fact, they bring up one fact, and then they spend the next 2 minutes basically rephrasing the same fact.
Yeah.
And this is something that I've seen also in Yakuza, and I really wish that they kind of don't do that. I guess in a way, it might be good if you're like not paying attention and then you pay attention and then you kind of get what they're talking about. But you can fix that with the chat log. Like you can just open that up and be like, oh, okay, so this is what they said. I get it now. I feel like that would in turn give them more screen time for more important things. But maybe they do this on purpose to like save some budget. I don't know. That's my assumption, but I don't know. I just kind of want them to improve on this. Like, I don't know how, or like... Yeah, go on.
No, I was going to say, I apologize for interrupting. I completely agree. And
glad to hear it.
I have noticed this ever since I started translating the games myself, post like Reverie, where when I caught up to the series and the first entry that I bought with localization wise being Cold Steel 4, and then I played Reverie in Japanese and had to figure out like what the text meant. That is when I really started figuring out, oh man, we repeat a lot of the same stuff here. And then when I got to Daybreak, I was like, oh, we really repeat a lot of the same stuff here. Yeah. And so I started noticing that thing of like, okay, once you get the general context of what they're going for here, a lot of the characters are just repeating what one said and, like you said, rephrasing it a different way. So that could definitely use some improvement on. No question.
Yeah, I'm glad we could agree on that. So now with this, announcing to the viewers that this is the spoiler-free half done. from here on, I mean, if you want to stick around, it's up to you. But with a franchise like this, I really don't recommend it, and I think King Recon also doesn't recommend it.
For sure.
I would be lying if I say it's not a commitment. It is. But if you like long-running stories, play the games. You have the remake of the first game out. The second one is coming soon. If it doesn't hook you, fair enough, but it probably will. If you like, JRPGs and long-running stories, give it a shot. But yeah, spoiler half officially starts now. All right. My man, King Recon. Like a couple of questions ago, you talked about the death thing, and I've been hungering to bring that up again.
Talk about it.
even though we have a question coming up, but I can't hold myself. You talked about the deaths.
Let's hear it.
You talked about the deaths. Do you still feel that way about them repeating the deaths after what we've seen at the end of Horizon?
Yes. That's what I mean. Like, that's what I was hinting at when I said there's certain things where I like when it's done really well.
Yeah.
And that's how I felt about what we're referring to that in Horizon. But this is also my thing. Trails also has a way of executing upon something that feels like a death. For example, like what happened with Anya's at the end of Horizon, where that was as emotional and as like I feel like I'm losing someone right now. And so Trails is so good at executing upon that. So yeah, I would say at the end of Horizon, there's still like something in the back of my mind that's sort of like, okay, how do we get out of this? Because we always tend to get out of it. But at the same time, the stakes are so high where it's like, oh, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Do we get out of it? I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
we might bring it up later, but you can maybe say that the first time they did this was with Azure, right? Like when they revealed to you, like, oh, the protagonists actually lost their lives in Zero. And to me, at least, that was like, wow. They really went there.
That's one of the best moments in the series.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It got me. It also got me. But I'm curious to know if you feel like the Cold Steel versions of like them reanimating characters, do you also feel like they executed them well in there?
That one's tougher. Like, so I'll give you an example, right? Like, Crow's the best example. So when Crow died in Cold Steel 2, that was one of the most impactful moments in the series for me, right? Where it was like, oh man, like we're going in, we're doing this entire thing, specifically trying to get our boy back, and then we fail. And he dies in our arms. And so when you get into Cold Steel 3 and you see him again, you know it's him. It has to be him. The mystery of how we get to that point was extremely exhilarating and exciting. But once you figure out it is him, it's like, okay, he's alive. That definitely takes away from the initial death of what happened in Cold Steel 2. But one of the things I love about Trails is it doesn't take away from what that moment meant to the characters. So like we see how that destroyed Reed's psyche and pretty much solidified the really dark undertone for the rest of the original Class 7 as well from that point forward. So in that way, absolutely love the way they handled it. And I definitely loved a lot of the stuff they've done with Crow post him getting brought back. But sometimes I do think, would it have been more powerful to bring him back and then kill him off at the end of Cold Steel 4, right? Because I understand why they did this, why they made that decision, and also this. It was an equivalent exchange thing too, right? Because I lost my favorites in the Divine Knights in that moment. I cry every time at the end of Cold Steel 4 when I finish it because Valimar is one of my favorite characters. And so when they send off, I'm in tears, and that's like a moment of like a really well executed, oh, this is goodbye-esque moment. But then on the opposite side of that, we had Olivier that came back, Milliam that came back, and
Victor
Crow.
and Toval, technically.
And Victor, Toval. So it's like, I understand if you want to bring back some of them, but bringing all of them back is like sweet flag cards. And I say that as Cold Steel 4's biggest defender, where that is my favorite game in the series. And it's still like, holy flagnards, man, we've got to tone this down.
Yeah.
At some point,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
got to start killing characters, because the thing is, Luve's death, it was so incredibly impactful that when you come back to his gravesite in Cold Steel 3, there was an immense amount of weight to it, because it was
Yes.
like, this guy died, and we see how that has impacted everyone in the world. Everyone felt it. They still feel it to this day. And it saddens me that Crow couldn't have that moment for the rest of the series. Like I said, I love Crow. I'm so glad to still be able to play as him, but a part in the back of my mind thinks that had he remained dead, that would have actually been better for Reen's character arc, for Cold Steel as a whole, and for what the message you were trying to get through by the time we got to Reverie as well. So, and if they wanted to bring him back, Luve style, remember in Sky the Third when they brought back Luve with the mask, but that was all like inside of Phasmagoria, and you want to do that for Reverie, I get it, and it works. One game thing, 100%. But to completely keep him alive post that, it makes sense narratively, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know if it was the right call.
You know,
I don't know if it was the right decision. And I feel that way about Toval. I feel that way about Victor. It's just multiple different things, man.
there's something I'm surprised they didn't do more often. I think it first appeared in Cold Steel 2, I want to say. You have those mirror accessories, I think, where it changes your character to Crow or Vita or Lloyd. I think they should do that more often, because technically you're playing as that character, but they're not there. So it's like a gameplay thing, and I'm down for that, you know?
Just to finish off on one more thing, and this is what I mean by there's some that are just so beautiful. I can't go against it, and that's Olivier, right? Like Olivier's death, even though it was so impactful in the moment, having Olivier's wedding, which is one of the most beautiful scenes in the entire series, and us building towards that, and it being a part of like the whole miracle idea that Cold Steel 4 was going for, that's where I'm like, listen, even though it takes away from what happened at the end of Cold Steel 3, it doesn't compare to the beauty and euphoria I feel right now. So it's like, it's that equivalent exchange angle of this moment for that moment type of thing, which Trails tends to do. But that's all the thoughts I have on that topic.
Listen, man, that door in Reverie with Olivier and Shara and Phantom Thief B, oh man.
Yeah, it's so good.
It is absolutely, like, at least in the top 3 doors for me in Reverie, it's just so good. Like, you know, the payoffs, they're crazy. They're popping off. I love that one so much. It's just, it goes to show the humanity in some of the characters as well. Like Phantom Thief B, you know, you kind of knew him as just a jerk in like some of the previous games, but then there he is, you know, coming back after all this time to like honor this character that he has some respect for. Right, sorry to the viewers because we went off track here. We were supposed to get onto some questions, but what can we say? Trails does its thing, and we just talk.
Right.
So we were supposed to talk about just favorite moments and or twists across the series. Now, Trails has a lot, okay? It has a ton. I'm thinking maybe we can pick 10 each. You want to talk about them in detail? Go for it.
So I'm going to start off my list. I guess I'm going to keep my... I know what my top 5 is, but leading up to that point, we'll play it by ear.
Okay.
So I guess starting off, just to keep things chronologically, at least for the sake of this discussion, my number 10 is going to be the end of Sky FC. That cliffhanger has remained with me for all these years. It is, I think, one of the most powerful things that this series has done, specifically because you're with Estelle and Joshua the entire game, and you're establishing not just a relationship, but a relationship with everyone else. And so when you finally get to Grand Steel at the end, and you know you've done everything you have to do, you fought off some ancient civilization stuff at the end. Cassius is back. It's like, let's go, man. We took care of Richard and his entire conspiracy plot. Everything's nice. And then, but there's still one thing that's been in the background, like what really happened with Joshua, the mysteries of Joshua and the things that are happening in the background. So when you had that bench scene when Weissman shows up. It's one of the craziest scenes, still to this day, that changes the entire perception of the story, at very least in the eyes of the viewer. It's like, holy flagnars, man. Just when you thought it couldn't get any better, it gives you the very best stuff at the end. And so then you're like, okay, how is he going to respond to that? And then you have that, of course, sequence there at the end with Estelle and Joshua that kicks us off into Sky SC. But it was the mastery of how they executed not just the twist, but the buildup of 40 plus hours of you being with these characters, and now you're telling me one of them is gone and they have left the other there. Upon confession, which was such a major part of the entire story, was this whole love angle between the two, and finally being honest with their feelings before a separation. And as a huge anime and manga fan, I know what that means. Rescue arc incoming. But it's like, how do we get to that point? I want to know, how do we deal with these dudes? Weissman feels like he's extremely powerful. So all of those questions, just the end of FC is a masterclass in cliffhangers, and so that's why that'll be in my top 10 for sure.
Can I just add one thing to that? One thing I absolutely adore about that ending is that it kind of acts as a reality check, not just for Estelle, but in a way to the player as well, because up until that point, you're kind of like, okay, this is a cute kind of JRPG game. I'm in for the ride, I guess. And then they slap you in the face with something that you probably didn't see coming at the end of the game. And it just works so beautifully, right? It does.
Okay.
So I'm gonna pick, might be predictable, but the reunion scene is in second chapter. Oh,
so good. Good.
I feel like every time I watch it, like, words cannot express, man. Like, it's so beautiful. I think somebody at some point in that game asks Estelle, like, what are you gonna say to him when you see him? And she's like, I don't know. The words will come out. And when you get to that scene, the words come out. The music in the background, the sunset, it's perfect. It's perfect.
Since that was also going to be my Sky SC pick, what I'll do is I'll pick a moment after that. Just know that's also on my list, because I love that beach scene so much. But to stick with Sky SC, I'll go with the moment that Kevin reveals himself as the heretic hunter.
Okay.
You know, that moment is so important for the entirety of Trails, because it's right there where, like, the powers within the Trails verse, the Growlswitter, the Ouroboros, where they all stand in the verse, and like rock paper scissors matchup that is Trails, is that's the moment where it all is hinged on. When he comes in there and decimates him, it's like, no, you're not going anywhere, buddy. Like, you're getting cooked. And it's so cool because the entire game, Kevin is the funniest dude. I mean, he's hilarious. Never has a serious moment, although he has really cool scenes inspiring Estelle, inspiring the party. But it's always in a really nonchalant way. He gets really serious, and the way that the facial portrait changes after that,
oh my god,
it's so cool. So cool. I love peak. Sky SC, man.
Same.
It's so peak.
Man, I feel so ashamed of myself, because I honestly thought I was the bigger Kevin fan out of the two of us. And there you go, mentioning that one moment. God, I love it so much. The Olivier twist. A complete game changer. Like, you feel flabbergasted, you feel shocked. This goofball is the prince of the empire? Ain't no way. It's a monumental, like, character development moment. What would you pick for the third thing?
Quite literally from the third. I would pick the final moment when Kevin and Rias take out Rufina with the final shot. There's so much building into this moment, you know. It's not just an epic moment or an emotional moment. It is the buildup of Kevin's entire character arc and the entirety of the third. Their relationship together. Kevin has been trying to do everything on his own since the beginning of SC. He refused to get anyone involved in his problems. It was like, no, I'm going to handle all of this by myself. And for the final shot against the person he loves most, he relied on someone else finally to help him deliver that blow and carry that burden. It is one of the most beautiful moments because it comes right after you go through the inner psyche of his mind and see just how much he's suffering after having killed all these individuals and having to do that by himself. And for Rias to accompany him and be like, no, you're not going to do this alone. It's so beautiful, man. And I love that scene.
My next pick is also from the third, and it's going to be the prologue, like the first hour of Kevin just being on this James Bond mission. Like, I know it's technically not a moment per se, but that whole segment just had me so excited beyond belief. I'm starting out with someone who knows his stuff. Like, you're going solo on this mission and you're bodying everybody on that plane. It's crazy. At the time of playing, you know, the trilogy, there was nothing like it almost. Maybe the closest thing would be when you played this Joshua in SC, but I think up until Horizon, we don't really have like a segment like this where we're like carrying out a church mission. So it remains unique. Yeah. Like, it's special. I love this one so much.
This next one has always been special for me. Coming in Trails from Zero, this is where I always say the beach scene that you mentioned earlier is where I was like, oh wow, like I'm a fan. I'm really a fan of this. When I got to my pick now, this is when I became a fan forever, and that is the end of Trails from Zero when they catch Ren. And it's the I Caught You scene with Estelle and Joshua finally catching up to Ren.
Yeah.
This is what I was alluding to earlier when I said that I talked about long-running moments and the payoff to years of storytelling coming off in fruition there. That moment is so incredibly beautiful because from the moment that you meet Ren in SC, and you see who she is, who she's disguised as. It was all leading towards this moment. And for them to finally catch her after the entire journey she'd gone on from SC to the third to Zero, you have all the context, you understand why it is she keeps running away, and even with all of that, Estelle and Joshua just will not leave her alone, man. And it's one of the most beautiful moments because, and it showed me that Trails is not afraid to have these incredible moments outside of their arcs. So like, even though this was a cross-spell game, it still felt like a great transition from Liberl because our finale for that arc came at Trails from Zero. Like, finally, the final thread came together in Estelle and Joshua catching up to Ren. And it was one of the most beautiful moments. It always gets a tear out of me, but it just showcased the long-term storytelling brilliance of Trails. And so I love that moment, man. I caught you.
Absolutely.
So weak.
Wonderful pick. For the fourth one, I'm gonna have to go with also from Zero. See, I actually really appreciate like a lot of the morbid stuff that they show in this franchise. So I'm gonna go with the SSS finding out about the cult, or more specifically, when they opened the files in the hospital with that soundtrack, Gnosis or Gnosis or whatever. Oh man, it's creepy.
So good.
It's morbid. It's unsettling, but it's so well written. Are you gonna pick something from Azure now?
Yes, as a matter of fact. and then after that, it's gonna get a little crazy.
Go for it.
But it's because so many of these are just so integral to my journey as a fan of this story. And this next one, we talked about it earlier, or alluded to it. It is probably, outside of Final Fantasy VII, the craziest plot twist I have ever seen in any game, and that is the Azure. You find out that you actually didn't die, or I'm sorry, that you actually died at the beginning of Trails from Zero, and then time was reversed, and then we get to where we are now, and this was all thanks to Kia, and that moment. So when you're going up and you start seeing all these things playing out on the screen, your mind's just putting the pieces together, like, there's no way. There's actually no way. And so it's like, that's why it was called Trails from Zero, and that's why the prologue happened in the way that it did. And it was just such a mind-boggling moment because, once again, similar to the Ren scene, this showed me the incredible attention to detail that Falcom has. Because any of us would have been like, oh, that first scene was just a, every video game has the, oh, your characters have all of these abilities, and then these abilities get taken away from you as it's the classic Metroid thing, or classic video game thing, where you start off with all of your abilities, and then you have to slowly get them back. Okay, makes sense, right? Like, it's just them acquainting us to a brand new way of the battle system, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
No, man. These characters were actually at the end of that journey, but they did not succeed the first time.
Yeah.
And it was just such a mind-boggling moment that also showed the possibilities of how we're going to deal with time from this point forward. And what a scene, man. What an incredible scene. And I have to just give an honorable mention from this very same game, which I think you're going to talk about, so I won't talk about it too much. But my God, that Lloyd and Garcia breakout scene.
Yes,
man.
I had it written down, bro. Yeah.
Perfect.
And also, since you mentioned the death twist, I want to give a very honorable shout out to, I can't remember, was it one or more than one? But whenever you had the nightmare segment of Lloyd dreaming up this Joaquin at the end of Zero, holding them, and the screen is all red and distorted. I love that so much. I know it's a brief thing,
So good.
but it's so creepy. It's so uncanny. I love it so much. Here's the funny thing. I had two things for Azure at first. One of them was the prison escape, which you mentioned.
Yep.
The second thing was the death twist, which you also mentioned. So I'm kind of out of things for Azure.
You can talk about the prison escape one. That's why I didn't really go into it.
Right.
I'll let him talk about it.
Well, the prison escape then. You're locked up with an unlikely inmate next to you, Garcia.
Yep.
Now, Garcia has been a villain in Zero. You're locked up, but you have things to do, people to save. So what do? You team up and devise this crazy plan with Garcia, and the two of you go on this just amazing prison break. Wasn't it the only segment where you play as Garcia as well, or do you even not control him? I forget.
Yeah. I don't remember, but I think you do, if I'm not mistaken.
Man, if only they made him playable in a proper segment, more so than just the prison escape. But it was so good.
Dude, inevitable struggle, playing in the background too.
Oh yeah.
So weak. All right, so my next pick, I'll be jumping ahead a little bit. Honorable mention, obviously, to Cold Steel 1. The end of that game is so incredibly special to me. I absolutely adore it. But that is not going to be my pick. Jumping over to Cold Steel 2, I have to go with the legendary, unbelievable intermission sequence post quote-unquote final chapter, where you play as Lloyd and then eventually have a boss fight with Recon. This changed the entire game for me, and one that I wanted to ask you about, since you said that you played Cold Steel first before Crossspell. Because for me, coming from Crossspell to Cold Steel, this was one of the biggest pop-off hype moments in the series. Because I was like, there is no way that I'm experiencing what I'm seeing right now. There is no way that we're actually having this this bout between two protags, where I'm on a mission as Lloyd. We see that Recon post finale is definitely not the same. Like what happened with Crow, the reveal about Osborn being his father, that has completely changed everything that he's doing. So that's happening in the background. You're playing as Lloyd and Risha on this mission. It's really nostalgic. It's insane. But to finish it off, and you're fighting against Reed and Altina, and in my heart, I'm like, well, whose side am I supposed to be on, man? I love both these characters. And it was a game-changing moment for me, where I was like, that's how interconnected this universe is. And it was so special.
Well, since you wanted to know how it was like for me, like I said, I did play Cold Steel 1 and 2 before any of the Crossplay games, I believe. Even though, when I first saw that segment, I was like, oh, wait, who's this? It didn't take long for me to recognize the guy, because I did see the cover art for the Crossplay games. I was like, wait a minute. Wait, they're going there? They're really going there? Wow. Okay. Okay, Cold Steel 2. I see what you're cooking. And definitely it made me more curious about, what the heck was going on with Crossbell. So, I went and played those games. And yeah, I loved it. I loved it. So good pick. Good pick. I'm gonna go with a Cold Steel 1 pick now. The first Ogre Reen segment.
Oh, peak.
See, I don't want to diss Cold Steel 1. It has a special place in my heart because I played it on the Vita. I had a lot of fun with it on the Vita. Again, the soundtrack of Cold Steel 1 is, I think, among the best in the whole franchise. It has amazing, phenomenal tracks. When I heard Exceed for the first time, chills.
So weak.
Chills, bro. Chills. The circumstances of that whole moment as well, where, of all people, you have Crow with you and you have Patrick. Like, freaking Patrick of all people. Like,
Patrick.
that just made the whole like scene like infinitely more amusing.
Going with Cold Steel 3 next. So there's so many from this game. This game is so incredibly special to me. But the one that I always think back to in regards to this game was the scene with Reen and Ash that they had in, I believe it's chapter 3, where Ash finally starts coming into his own, and we see what Reen has been struggling with post Cold Steel 2, and how much he's grown as a person. Like I said before, New Class 7 is my favorite aspect of the series, and this is like a central core moment to that, because coming off of this, obviously we had the Reen and Arian Rod stuff where he almost sacrificed it all just to ensure that that the rest of New Class 7 would be okay. And so we had incredible moments with Ash, with Yuna, with Altina. Muse's still one of the flying fighters going on with her, but Ash was always the one that was like, what's going on with our dude? And so when we have him out there talking to Lecter, and it's like, hold up, is he triple agenting? What's going on here? Muse's out there as well, but we don't know that yet. And then Reen comes up, and he's not really questioning Ash about that. Instead, he puts on his teacher pants, his father pants, and he's talking about why Ash is doing this at all. And he's really trying to get at the core psyche as to Ash as a person. And it just really stood out to me, as I wasn't expecting that kind of scene to happen in that moment. And it's always been one of my favorite scenes in the series, specifically because it sort of captures what makes Reen so special to me, and the amount of growth that we see his character go through, and how he is able to be his best self through and thanks to others. And he was able to finally get Ash slowly out of his shell, even though obviously after that he would have insane moments. And little did he know that he would shoot the Emperor a little after this, but it was all leading towards all of that, and to prepare him for life post that, right? And so it sort of is like the glue that sort of keeps Cold Steel 3 together, is chapter 3 as a whole for me. But that Ash and Reen conversation is one of my favorite conversations in the entire story, and it really captures why I love the New Class 7 dynamic so much.
No, definitely. I think the New Class 7, like the chemistry between Reen and the New Class 7 is one of the better parts of Cold Steel as a whole for me as well. So, good pick. For me, I would go for something in Cold Steel 4. So, you know, like the final dungeon where everyone like gathers together. I want to give a shout out to that, but specifically the fact that Zeno and Leo join. Maybe someone out there doesn't care for these two, but I don't know why. This moment where they finally joined the fight, it just did something to me. And I still am very sad that the Reverie did not make them playable in the corridor. Like, at least as, you know, the gacha characters. Like, please. Cold Steel 4 made me appreciate these two so much more than I did.
Legendary Final Dungeon OST too, man. Shout out to everything. I love To the Future so much. That's like one of my favorite soundtracks.
It's great.
It's so good. So sticking with Cold Steel 4, just a little before that, I think this might be next to Horizon's final chapter and Reverie final chapter. I think the Fragments section of Cold Steel 4 is one of the greatest things the series has ever made. And in particular, like I said, because of my love for New Class 7 and their relationship with Reen, the section when they finally catch up to Reen and he is in full-blown ogre mode in
Yeah.
Fragments, and the opening starts playing anime style, and all of New Class 7 start giving a speech to Reen the same way that he had done so many times to them, because they're finally going to knock him out of this. And then you have a boss battle against Reen. After finishing that boss battle and beating your instructor, you then get one of the most beautiful and emotional moments in the entire series, where even if that warmth is small starts playing, everyone in the entire Erebonia, Crossbell, and Liberal cast get connected as they attempt to bring Reen back from these depths. And he finally has the moment where he is able to outright say, without a shadow of a doubt, who he is. And that is no longer the or whatever I was saying before, or whenever he couldn't construct his own identity. Now he, without a doubt, after all these trials and tribulations, I am Reen Schwarzer of Class 7. And it is one of my favorite moments. It is a moment that, once again, similar to Sky FC's cliffhanger going into the beach scene, or any of the things that have ever led into each other like that, the end of Cold Steel 3 being such a cliffhanger, and then leading into the payoff of Fragments in Cold Steel 4, it was just so incredibly beautiful, man, and I'll always love that scene. It's so good.
We're on the 7th pick now, right? I want to say. Right.
I believe so.
So I'm going to go with a moment in Daybreak 1 that, to this day, I will just randomly open up like a video just to like rewatch this moment. Bearing the nightmare for the first time in Daybreak 1. Oh
so good.
Man, it's so amazing. It's amazing. Rise of the Grendel, then Oro farming with the Grendel about to like, oh man, it's amazing. Your turn.
Such a great pick. Like you said, the R farming, man, and the music, so good. So good. Going back for a sec to Reverie. So like I said, like I was leading into, the final chapter of Reverie is so incredibly special to me. But there's two moments in particular from that sort of tie into each other. The first one is Reen confronting his other self, the Ishmelga Reen self, and him coming to the conclusion of, he's been placed throughout the entire arc in a dilemma of whether he should choose his purpose or his happiness. And at the end of the day, he ended up choosing his happiness. And that is such a beautiful scene when he finally ends up overcoming the self-doubt, his depression, his anxiety. This thing has been dealing with for so long. And he's able to overcome that literally by taking himself out. Probably my favorite scene in the series pre-Horizon. Like, it is just so incredibly special. So I love that Reen scene against Ishmelga Reen. So beautiful. And then tying into that, Lloyd stopping Rufus from sacrificing himself. You want to talk about long-term build-up for a character too. The same way Reen's scene was built up from Cold Steel 1, that Lloyd scene was built up from the entirety all the way back to 0. And it was just, what a way to stop Rufus, which, shout out to Rufus, man, and C, and that entire plot line, and
amazing
one of the
character.
best things to come out of that arc. Such a great character. But to save him from doing that, and then actually forcing him to do something else, right, which is the man who erased his name, Trail's mission, Rufus.
For real, yeah.
So he forces him to do that, and then we get that really beautiful scene where Ishmelga Reen and Lloyd give like a fist bump, leading into the events that would take place in Caliburn. It's just those two moments in succession, paying off Reen's character arc and Lloyd's character arc back to back. It was just incredible stuff, man. And C's technically, so all three of their character arcs, culminated at one time. It was so good.
Yeah, Reverie had a lot of good moments in general. I love that game. Okay, for the next pick, the Daybreak 2 prologue, and I mean the end of it.
Ooh.
Listen, man, I don't care what anybody says. That scene, to this day, if I rewatch it, it pierces my heart. I know it's a dead end, and it kind of undoes itself, but the emotions you see when the thing happens,
Powerful.
it's insane. Seeing Van absolutely devastated, seeing the tear come down like Elaine's face, oh man, it's so powerful. And then, not to mention Renee and Agnes arriving on the scene, and that adding to the whole like just emotion. It's so powerful. I know Daybreak 2 is not a very popular game, but I still have some appreciation for that game. So I would pick this moment.
Me too. No, that's a great pick. That the end of that prologue was such a, I mean, and honestly, post Horizon, it makes it feel even more dramatic because you understand what it took for that reset to take place. So it's like they went through it, man. Like,
they did.
It's not like it just got erased. Like they went through it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's such a special moment. So I was gonna go with a Daybreak 1 moment, but I have 2 Horizon moments I have to talk about. So I'm gonna go Horizon back to back.
Go for it. Go for it.
For my final 2 picks. So my first Horizon moment is going to be the scene I had wanted to see since the end of Reverie, when we got those final 3 additional doors, and one of them was Shizuna defeating Reen. And I had spent the entirety of the thing being like, when is the rematch going to happen? So when we get to Reen versus Shizuna in Horizon, not only is that one of the coolest, most epic things with Height of Majesty playing in the background, but it comes right after you get payoff to the Cold Steel 4 Reverie stuff, where Reen and Crow look up and the same space they're seeing is not the same space everybody else is seeing.
Yeah.
So your mind starts going, oh my god, what is happening in this game?
Yeah.
So conspiracies are flying, you're losing your mind, and then right as you're about to reach an answer, guess who knocks on your door? Shizuna. And it's like, there's no way! And so Shizuna comes in, they have their fight, it's so epic, it's one of the coolest animated sequences ever. And then right after that, you receive word of what's happening to Professor Hamilton, and you know that's going to happen in Kevin's route. And so it's like you're so excited to get over to Kevin's route and see what's happening with Professor Hamilton, and that's how it cuts to black at the end of that Reen route, Act 2 for Horizon. One of the best parts of Horizon, man. It is so special, from paying off theories and getting us back into the Cold Steel 4 stuff of what really actually happened in the original timeline of that game, similar to what happened in the Trails from Zero, Trails to Azure stuff. Insane stuff there, but then you get the payoff to finally having Reen versus Shizuna in real time, and it was just so epic, man. I absolutely love that.
It really is. And may I just add that I love I love how much they nailed like this build up to the cosmic horror. Like when you see the telescope and you find out that there might be something up with the sky, suddenly like you feel small, like, you know, like you feel insignificant, like what is going on up there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just so well done. It really is, like right up until the end. There's just so much goodness there.
Yeah.
And now that we have just 1 pick left, dare I ask, is it the same thing that we like both got? Because well, for me, I really just broke down the entirety of Kai's ending, but I can be more specific if you want to.
I mean, it's also my last pick too, so let's get right into it.
Okay.
We spent the entire game and arc building up 2 specific dynamics. Van's relationship with Agnes and Van's relationship with Renee and Elaine. So when both of them pop off at the exact same time, it's unbelievably insane. Because obviously Agnes, we don't know what's happening with her in the background while all this taking place. We had an inkling because of what happened at Trion Tower, and we saw somebody that one night that was like, is that Agnes? I'm not sure. Then she has the confession scene, and it's like, then what in the world we're going to do now? Then Agnes gets removed from the picture as you go over to Anchorville, and it's like, sweet Flagnards, man. What is happening here with Agnes, with Gramhart? What is he trying to protect her from? And then obviously on the Renee side of things, it's like, okay, so then what have you been plotting this entire time? Are you going to actually try to go out and stop this? And so the fact that while all this is happening, we're getting the truth about this box in space, the grand reset. Gramhart is talking about his plan. We see Amelia. We play as Amelia in space, in one of the mech suits. You have that
Yep.
incredibly awesome boss sequence. We think that we won, and then out of nowhere, what looks like Ishmelga pops up out of nowhere. You're like, what in the flying flatter is going on? The box starts counting down for the grand reset. We cut back to us. Renee's like, well, it's time, guys. He pops out. He is the Shaddai Grendel. Everything's popping off at once, and
bro,
it just.
I am
like,
sorry to
go ahead.
interrupt, but
Go ahead.
my goodness,
Go
I
ahead.
still remember word for word, I am the beast that brings forth the white dawn. This sly fox, I swear to God. Oh man. Go on, I'm sorry.
I am the beast that brings forth the white dawn. No, thank you. Like, yes, exactly that. And so then it's like, oh man, he pops out. It's the way in which he's casually bodying everyone. We get into the boss fight. It's multi-phased, right? We have to face him, and then we have to face him on the moon, and it comes back to the opening where it's like, oh my god, the cool. And then the way that the boss music isn't, like, it feels like a Near Automata soundtrack. It's just, oh my god. And then for us to then get into the craziest cliffhanger in the entire series, where we finally find out what Agnes has been doing this entire time, and right as the grand reset is popping off, she brings everything back to us. Where do we even start next game from, man? Like, it is the craziest cliffhanger in the entire series. But the build up to that cliffhanger and everything else that happened, I think it's the craziest final chapter in Trails history. And that's saying something, because Trails has so many peak final chapters. I think Kai's takes the cake, man. Like, it's insane.
No, I can't even fault you for that. I mean, I think if I had to pick one, I probably would pick this one as well, because, like, we're gonna get into this later, but legitimately, like, okay. For me at first, when I was done with this game, I went, huh. Okay, I kind of expected for this to be worse. But then, I sat on it. I was like, okay, hold on. If this happened, then what does that mean for this? If what we saw happened, then what does that mean for... I was like, oh no. Oh no. Wait, hold on. Wait. Progressively, it got worse. The more I thought about it, it just gets worse. Like, is something like the Azure reset part of this? Probably not, but like, you still think about it a little bit. Is, I don't know, like, insert random thing from Cold Steel, was that maybe part of the grand reset? Does the Septarian of Time have anything to do with this? It just makes you question pretty much everything you knew about the franchise. It really does.
About Trails, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it was kind of like how when we reached the end of Sky SC and we realized, oh, like, we are a post advanced civilization world.
Yeah.
And we got to see, like, computers and things of that nature in that final dungeon in Sky SC, and how that kind of changed my entire perception of Trails. It was that again at the end of Horizon, where it was like, what's even out there?
Yeah.
What is the Beyond? What is McBurn?
Yeah.
What is Ouroboros trying to do? It's like, man, insane.
So far, I have to say, like, I'm just so glad that I feel like they couldn't have done the Septarian of Time any better than this. Like, so far,
100%.
it's perfection. Yeah. Like, it's terrifying. It's like, you know, beyond what anyone can, like, picture or imagine. It's just overwhelming, and I love that. And now I know we're going to, like, switch topics a little bit, but don't worry, dear viewers, we're gonna come back to, like, all the Kai or Horizon stuff. I promise you. But let's just get some smaller stuff out of the way. So Trails has a bunch of novels, and, you know, they foreshadow some great stuff. And I'm kind of curious to know about your favorite ones.
So I would say 3 and 9 for obvious reasons is definitely, it has become my favorite over the years. For sure. It's one that I call back to as, like, their premiere. We built something up here that was already a really well told story, and then we had enough confidence in the reader or the player, to go out and read those novels and understand what's happening in Reverie and post that as well. Going into the Ace stuff in Daybreak 2, all of that hits as hard as it does because you have 3 and 9 as a backdrop. So I have so much love for 3 and 9. It's without a doubt my favorite novel for sure.
Okay, great pick. Great pick. So personally, I think if I had to pick one favorite novel, it would be Red Moon Rose. I'm just going to give a shout out to Carnelia as well. I really enjoyed that one.
So good.
But yeah, if I had to pick one, Red Moon Rose, because reading through the novel, it was so gnarly, it was so brutal, that it was hard to believe it was in the same universe as, you know, Trails. And that's kind of what made it intriguing for me. And, you know, its presentation of vampires as well, I thought was really well done. And obviously, it was an introduction to the character of Roselia, which I also like. But the writing for the novel, you know, the setting, everything that they were trying to do was really good. I mean, it's basically a horror novel, and I really like my horror stuff. So, yeah, really good stuff. And I'm ashamed to say I haven't read 3 and 9 yet, but I really want to. I can't LARP for too long. I gotta get around to it.
Yeah, I can't LARP for too long. It's good, man. It's really good for just adding more emotional depth to everything with the Picnic Squad, for sure.
Yeah, I did hear that it does explain quite a bit of stuff in Daybreak 2. I played Daybreak 2 without reading that novel. I know it's a crime, but hopefully I do get around to reading it. But with that out of the way, we now have the question of who would you place in your top 3 MCs out of Estelle, Kevin, Lloyd, Reen, C, and Van. So we have 6 protagonists, and we want you to pick 3. They could be in order, or maybe not necessarily. It's up to you.
Yeah, it's so tough because I actually have... Last year when I did my favorite characters list, it was the 6 MCs back to back to back, so I was forced to rank them.
Okay.
They were there, but now I think my list has changed a little bit. So it'll be very similar, but it has changed a little bit. So my number 1 has always been my number 1, which is Reen. That is number 1 for sure. Number 2, I have Van. That's my guy. I just and I think he. I don't know, man. Depending on how Horizon 2 ends, he could definitely take that number 1 spot as well. But also, I expect Reen to have some really good stuff. I expect Reen to have some really good stuff. So I don't know if he's ever going to let go of that. He's just too special of a character for me. So I'd have Reen, Van. For many years, Lloyd has been in this 3rd spot. Many years. But I think as I sit here today, post Horizon replay, post thinking about so much regarding the series, I've got the Onion Man in my number 3, man.
Let's go.
I love Kevin too much, dude. That's my guy.
Let's go.
That's my guy. He's just... There's just so many special things about Kevin Graham as not just a protagonist, but as just like a character within the Trails world. His presence makes me appreciate Trails so much. And so he's got to be there in my list of favorite Trails characters.
My man. I think I will order them as well. Estelle in the 3rd spot. She shines like the sun. She's funny. Her interactions with other characters are great. I love them. And the remakes kind of reignited my appreciation for her as well. So, yeah, I'm going to put her in number 3. Number 2, I think Van beat her out for me. Like, I came to just like Van so much. Again, Van is also really funny. He's charismatic. He's actually charismatic in a way where he kind of doesn't realize it. Like, you know, he draws these like people around him to him. I really like his fighting style as well, like the mix of hand-to-hand with the stun rod. You know, his demeanor, the way he diffuses situations, the way he goes about handling his side jobs. I really came to just love Van, so he takes the number 2 spot. Number 1 is Kevin. Onion
Our
Man.
boy.
Our boy. I think that deep appreciation for Kevin stemmed ever since I played Sky Third, because Sky Third is a game that really went places that I did not expect it to go. And it's in multiple... That goes, like, in multiple ways. With Kevin, for example, he had me intrigued ever since they've shown him at the end of SC. Like that complete, flick of a switch. I wanted to know more about him, and I got to know more about him in third, and I was sold. I was sold hard. Now, I was sad it took so long to bring him back. I almost thought they were never going to bring him back again, but they did. They brought him back in Horizon, and I am so happy to see that, at least in my opinion, I felt like they kept him consistent to how I know him.
For sure.
The interactions he has with the other characters, he's still, goofy and funny. Seeing him interact with characters like Swin and Nadia as, assassin to assassin has been really interesting to me. And again, gameplay-wise, this guy's insane. He's a beast.
Yeah. You turn on that stigma, and that's it, man. Just so nasty.
We're now about to get into the Kai theory crafting. This may take a while, I don't know. Remains to be seen. So, as you and I know, King Recon, and the viewers, Horizon had an insane ending, to say the least. I don't know what I expected, like I said before, but it defied everything that I expected. So, basically, we come across the Septarian of Time. We find out that this Septarian of Time, I can't remember how to pronounce the thing, so I'm just going to call it the Septarian of Time. That's fine with me. We find out that this thing has been resetting the life cycle, basically, of the Earth. And we don't know under what conditions it's been doing this. We don't know, like, for how long it's been doing this. There's so many things we don't know, but what we do know is that life has basically been resetting. It hits a certain threshold, a certain point, and then life resets back to a certain point, I believe. And it just left us wondering about so many things. It left us wondering, again, what are the conditions? Like, what has to happen for a cycle to reset? Now, there's a lot of implications. And I'm gonna bring up a theory that I saw, if you don't mind. So, apparently...
Okay. Absolutely.
One theory is that this sin value, which is what indicates, like, if a reset happens, apparently the sin value is indicated by how much technological advancements happen. I think I came across this in a video, and I can't remember the channel's name, but I will try to give it a shout out. Have you heard of that theory by any chance?
I have not. I'm very fascinated.
Right, so again, I gotta give this channel a shout out because it's where I saw this theory. But do you recall how Yun Kafai, I believe, said that if the Septarian of Steel is subjugated, then the cycle is doomed? Right? He said something like that.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So, what happened around the Septarian of Steel? There was a war, like a big one, between Calvard and Erebonia. In the process, a lot of airships, tanks, basically devices or machines got destroyed in the process. And that, I think, delayed the reset. But I forget some of the details now. Like, I don't remember. Yeah, I'm kind of drawing a blank here. But basically, yeah, the idea is that technological advancement is what speeds up the process.
When I first finished Horizon, I went on a spree because I've noticed that Trails, Xeno, these are series that pull a lot from classic sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying to see what inspired this. And I read this short story by Isaac Asimov called The Last Question, which has a box in space that continuously resets the universe. And and it's so interesting that you bring up the technological advancement side of this, because that's exactly what happens in The Last Question. Mm-hmm. Is that eventually mankind gets to a point to where their technological advancements get so incredibly advanced that the box, as a survival mechanism for the human race, is forced to then press the reset button and allow things to start over again. So it's fascinating to me that you bring up the technology thing, because there's been one consistent thing since Liberal about the Trails world, and that is how technology has advanced so fast within the last 7 years.
That is
so
true.
From 1202 in time, back in the first game,
Mhm.
all up until 1209. It's insane how much has advanced technology
Yeah.
wise within the Trails universe.
Mhm.
So if the sin value is based on that, and we connect that obviously into like the biblical thing of like the end days will be seen when science and technology are like at their absolute apex,
Mhm.
and then you pair that with space. I like this sin value idea that you presented. I've never heard this, but I think there's a lot of weight towards it, considering Trails has always been a series
Mhm.
that has centered its entire setting and focused so much on the importance of technology as it advances through the years in a very fast rate, like a really really fast rate. So
I
I can see
will.
that.
I will send you the theory video later on. It's from a channel called
Okay.
Quietude in Disorder. I think he also made a bunch of other theories, and they're pretty interesting. And when you did also bring up the fact that they do emphasize sometimes that, oh, like, wow, technology is advancing so fast. Like, the characters sometimes do also talk about it. I feel like
Yeah.
there is something in that idea.
For sure.
But then another thing that I was thinking of is Kai 2 or Horizon 2 possibly starting with Daybreak 1, like slightly altered. How would you feel about that?
You know what I was thinking? I was thinking it's either going to be Daybreak 1 slightly altered, or it's going to be Sky FC slightly altered. I was thinking that
Hmm.
that it very well could be depending on the how crazy they want to go with this,
Hmm.
is showcasing, similar to Trails from Zero,
Hmm.
a different variation of an opening we've already seen before. So
Hmm.
whether it is, like you said, Daybreak 1, or we legitimately go back to the beginning of the story with Sky FC,
Hmm.
I just don't know how engine-wise they would do it. I don't know if the Kai 2 engine is going to be similar to the Sky SC remake engine, for example.
Hmm.
But if they are very similar,
Hmm.
I wouldn't put it past them to go all the way back then. However, I think it is going to be, like you said, an alternate version of Daybreak 1. And that by itself is going to be so fascinating because we're going to see the world as if Anya's never existed and how different things would
Ooh.
have gone through Van's eyes, right? So we're going to see a bunch of failures because if the Genesis didn't exist, Van probably would have died like really
Yeah.
early on in that
Yeah.
game. So we're going to see how almost everything. I wouldn't be surprised if it's just a prologue. I
Hmm.
I, I think we may actually see a good portion of Daybreak 1 playing in that in that prologue section, just like
Hmm.
in spurts. Like, oh, this is how different it would have gone here. How different it would have gone here. How
Hmm.
different it would have gone here.
Hmm.
But I definitely do think we're going to play through that because we have to emphasize how important Anya's is to Van and the ASO office.
Hmm.
Because without Anya's, ASO doesn't exist. ASO doesn't exist. They don't prevent what happens within at the end of Daybreak 1.
Hmm.
So, we're gonna see like Dante's and Melchior just running amok, doing whatever they please. So it's going to really showcase how important Anya's is
Hmm. Hmm.
to the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. Yeah, well said. There is a theory that you may have heard about, and it's one that says that Burgard is a vestige. What do you think of that?
I have not heard that, but that makes so much sense in retrospect. Actually,
He is supposed to be dead,
Burgard
right?
does that mean
Yeah, go on.
yes? I was gonna say, does that mean that Dominique is too?
Dominique. Is she supposed to be dead?
Good point. I
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, a Beauregard for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beauregard for sure. Dominique, maybe, but Beauregard for sure.
What was the terminology they used for basically the vestige equivalent in Cold Steel? I forgot.
It was
It's on the tip of my tongue, but I just can't remember it.
yeah, the individuals who could use the Divine Knights. It was, oh man.
Well, if I do remember it, I will mention it. But I assume, yeah, I assume it has nothing to do with that. This is like Calvard's own thing. So like,
Yeah.
It has a different name. So even though Burgard died in Erebonia, supposedly, like in quotes, died. I'm wondering like how this would even work. Like if he died in North Highlands, which is I believe that's where he died, then how did that connect it to Calvard? You know what I mean? Any ideas?
Right. Similarly to how Van has found his way into every single cookie jar, going back to helping Ren, helping out with the salt pail incident, helping out with a multitude of different things. My assumption is, or not the incident, I apologize, the end of Cold Steel 4. And everything there. Similarly, we will find a way for us to connect Beauregard from the North Highlands over into Calvert. I'm not sure exactly how we're going to do that, but that's up to the writing team. They'll figure that out.
Man, so this means there's a possibility that Beauregard might vanish by the end of Calvard, but they could also do the Cold Steel thing of just, reviving him. So who knows how that's going to go.
Yeah. It would have to be equivalent exchange in some regard, though. Like, something else would have to go in order for him to stay alive. Because that's what happened at the end of Cold Steel 4.
Right. Yeah, that is true. This probably won't be it, but the Grendels vanishing in exchange, maybe.
Okay.
But...
yeah, I mean... oof. Go ahead.
This brings another question as well. Like, would the Grendels possibly be connected to the elements? Because now that we've seen Shaddai obviously has the color of space. Van's Grendel has the color of time. So does that mean we're going to see one for every element, kind of like the Divine Knights, or is it not going to be like that at all? Like, that's another question that popped into my head.
You know what? I can see it, especially whenever you put it in that way. Then does that mean the next game we might see some of these vestiges pull out Grendels? Is that a possibility?
It could be. They could take it there. There's also something else that I thought of. We've all seen in the fight against Kincaid or Shaddai. My man just like opens up a portal mid-fight to send you somewhere else. Now, this kind of supports what I said about the Grendels being tied to the elements, because if he's tied to the space element, then space opening up a portal kind of connects. On the other hand, Van, if he's the Grendel of time or whatever you want to call him, well, what did Van do? He had a lot of situations where someone was attacking him and he stopped time. So I feel like there could be some merit to this.
You sold me on the color element, specifically the color element.
Right. I can only wonder who the rest of the Grendels would be, because that also brings another question. Does the Crimson Grendel count, or is that just a different product altogether?
Right. Just piggybacking off of that, when Kevin and the picnic squad were traversing through the tunnels and they found out that water came from the future, is there a possibility there's like a water-based Grendel that sort of represents that which should not exist-esque angle? Because when we look at what Van is as a sort of the vagabond demon, I think that's the
something like that.
I believe that's
something like that.
So when we look at it in that way, obviously the Shaddai form is more towards like a godlike figure. Now I have to wonder if the other one's sort of like the Crimson one, which is representative of sin, and if the sin is the sin value, then maybe we have one that represents like certain discrepancies or things that maybe should not be or are within the thing, because I'm just trying to think about how we bring these other Grendels into play if it does end up being that way. Specifically because of the way that Crimson was brought into the picture in the second game. Because I like your idea a lot, and I think there's a lot of merit. I actually do think there's a lot of merit behind it, especially if the last one ends up being. Because imagine, right? We do this, not a tournament like in 4, but a sort of, we take out each one, we learn something from each one, and by the time we get to Shaddai, we're ready. We have a whole bunch of different things to apply to our Grendel, new abilities or whatever the case may be.
I'm kind of curious. Have you ever looked into like you know, a lot of like fiction in general borrows from real life, like religious scriptures and whatnot. Have you looked into what Shaddai is?
Yeah.
Right. So, have you looked into particularly the S-craft name Ein Sof Or?
I have not. Give me some of that lore.
Right. Well, there's something interesting about that. First of all, for the viewers who have not looked into this, Shaddai, according to Google, is one of the names of God in Judaism.
Correct.
You can kind of look into that on your own if you want to, dear viewers, because we are about to move on to something pretty interesting. Once again, Shaddai, or Rene Kincaid, when he is in his Grendel form, his S-craft is called Ein Sof Or, and it means limitless light. And something that's interesting is apparently in Azure, in the tree, one of the realms that you go to, I believe, is called Ein Sof. Is there a connection? Or is there no connection? I don't know. But it is something that someone pointed out in my Discord.
Well, so going back to Isaac Asimov's novel, every time the box does a reset in that novel, before it resets, it says, "Let there be light." So it'll be like, "Let there be light," grand reset. So this grand reset happens as Shaddai comes back into the picture, right? So does this happen every reset? Are there different Shaddais? Has Renee always played that role? I don't know, man. That's interesting.
Well, the thing about Grendels is that we don't know if they could have other awakeners, for the sake of the argument, like the Divine Knights could in Actually, no, wait. Maybe I'm wrong about that too. I mean, could there be a possibility that the Divine Knights might belong to someone else in an alternate reality? Possibly.
Well, it could, because what's I forgot what was Osborne's original name again?
Like the Knight?
No, his was Valimar, but I don't remember his Osborne before he became Osborne. Pre-rebirth. It was the hero's name in Erebonia.
Oh, Drycles? Emperor Drycles?
Drycles. So Drycles' knight being Valimar, and then Reen's knight becoming Valimar, right? So it could be a situation like that. We would probably find out, because you know how in Horizon and in Daybreak 2, they were talking, or they were alluding to the fact that the squad from that time period is very similar to the gang that we have now. So
yeah.
I'm not saying they had the exact same things, but they are alluding to there being a lot of similarities at the very least. So if that happened with Drycles and Reen in a 400-year difference, then it could, or 800-year difference, then it could very well happen in this time period as well. I just don't know, like you said, if Grendels are something that could be carried on from generation to generation. I don't know if they've been there since the Grand Collapse. Yeah,
well, we do know that, I think, at least in Van's case, I mean, well, no, it's still shrouded in mystery. I was gonna say it's the DG cult that kind of planted this demon in him, but we don't know the full story still, right? Like, there's still a lot of mysteries.
Yeah.
So who knows what's going on there. But that also does kind of make us question, well, if Van got his demon through experimentation, how did Kincaid get his? I mean,
Right.
yeah, it's a question for Horizon 2, probably. I don't think we're gonna find out, no matter
Yeah.
how hard we try.
I think the circumstances may be similar, but so the way that that it was brought about through Van was through experimentation in a very literal sense.
Hmm.
Maybe Kincaid's was brought about through conditions in a very um, let's try to bring this out of him by flooding him with as much information, or so maybe something like fills the mind or the heart, or something that's not literal like Van's. Van's, it was created through them actually like literally experimenting on him. Maybe in Kincaid's case, the conditions were a little different, where they had to experiment, but maybe experiment in like, I'm not gonna say a brainwashing way, but I mean, if we're going off of the name Shaddai, maybe it was like bringing a whole bunch of, I don't know, texts or knowledge, or just filling. So much was entered into Renee's brain that this eventually came out. I don't know, because it could be that they were trying to awaken this thing within him, right? Like maybe it wasn't an internal thing that he just got out of nowhere. Maybe it was a planned thing. Like somebody was trying to awaken this thing within Kincaid, and they did everything possible in order to awaken this thing, whatever that ended up being. And because him and Van have had these parallels, I'm assuming the conditions had to have been similar to their journeys, similar but different. So what that means, I'm not sure, but I think there had to have been some awakening conditions for sure, and they probably weren't pleasant in the slightest.
At first, I actually thought you were gonna go for like a prophecy angle with Kincaid. Like,
Yeah, something like that.
they might have different awakenings, so to speak.
Right.
But at this time, it's just so hard to tell. But what we do know, I think, is that, well, Kincaid seems to be in the know of like all these cycles, and if you go back to Daybreak 1 and 2, have you seen any foreshadowing screenshots with Kincaid or no?
Not the screenshots, but whenever I did my replay of both of the games, I noticed a few of the things that he said, and it was just crazy. But what are the screenshots that you're referring to?
I don't have it with me right now, but I think there's a screenshot that says something like, use this time to prepare yourself, Van, or something like that. Something along those lines.
I did see that.
Yeah, he doesn't say for what, but, you know, once you play Horizon, you're like, oh, you Sly Fox. Yeah, you have signs like these, and, you know, going through Daybreak, this is something that I talked about in my Horizon video. I was really worried that, well, it seemed like they didn't know what they wanted to do with the story when I played Daybreak 1 and 2, and some of Horizon as well. But when I got to the end of Horizon, I was like, no, you know what? They were just taking their time, like really taking their time, because what you see at the end of Horizon, there's no way that it just happened, you know, out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it is supported by, you know, when you go back and play Daybreak 1 and 2 or see certain screenshots, they do allude to some stuff. Like, they are doing that.
Yeah.
It's just maybe arguably harder to notice compared to some of the other build-ups, and I love that.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah, Horizon 2 really does have big shoes to fill in, so hopefully, you know, they nail the landing. Something that you did basically talk about earlier is, well, it's another theory, that the Sky remakes is a new cycle. Do you feel like this has any merit?
So when it was first announced, I was like, I'm going down that route because the timing is too perfect for that. But when I saw that FC, if FC would have had, like, I don't know, some sort of reference or something that was like really drastically different,
yeah,
I'd be like, okay, we there's some merit to it. But since it was almost exactly one-to-one outside of a few additional side quests, like you said, that's when I was like, maybe not. Maybe they are just doing these remakes for remaking sake and not for going back to the beginning cycle-wise.
You know, I'm glad that we got the remakes the way they are. Like, I love them the way they are right now. But can you imagine how uncanny, how mind-shattering it would be if you were to play this remake and you get to something, it could be anything, but you get to something that is not the same as the original. And at first you're like, oh, maybe they just changed it to be, I don't know, quirky. But then you notice something and you're like, wait. No.
There's no way.
Yeah. Now, I don't have a good example. I don't have a good example, but can you imagine how good that could be? You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
just something in the remake that would allude to this being a different cycle. Oh man. And
you know what? There's only one way for us to truly find out, and that's whenever we meet up with what's her face at the end of Sky SE, because that is going to be like a true proof. Because I believe on those computers it actually talks about that's the first time we really dive into like grand collapse stuff and so many things that they're like end game trails. So if they're gonna put anything like that in these games, it's gonna be on that computer where it says like, reset number, and if we find out that we're actually one reset after ours, my mind is gonna be like, oh, these Sly Foxes, man.
Yeah.
They did it.
Yeah, man. There's so many things they can do. Like, not just with the remakes, but also with Horizon 2. Like, they really left us with just a bombshell of an ending.
Yeah. Do you think we're gonna have a similar to Horizon 1? How many routes do you think we have? And what do you think are the differences in the routes going to be? Because something I presented in my predictions earlier this year is, I believe Rias is going to join Kevin this time.
Yes.
for his route. Most certainly. I can see some other members of either new Class 7 or old Class 7 joining Recon on his, depending on how that's going to go. Or Recon's route shifts a bit, and it actually turns into a Divine Blade route, where it's like it's Recon, Shizuna, Richard, Analase. Since they already have the new move sets for them, I can actually see them doing that. And we prepare for that final showdown, quote unquote, at the other side of heaven that Yun Ka-Fai was talking about. And then it turns into like a sort of Divine Blade route. It's something I could definitely see. And then in Van's case, obviously, it's because Anya's not going to be there. But do you think we get Estelle and Lloyd coming in too? Is that too much? What's your headspace in regards to returning characters?
First, I have multiple things to say to that. First of all, yes, give me that 8 leaves route. Second of all,
we so peak.
yeah. Second of all, wow, I forgot what the second thing was. Hold on. So, Richard coming back is something that I desperately want to see. As long as, of course, he does fit in nicely with the story and that the writing is good and all that. But, man, we have not seen this dude in so long that I think him coming back in Calvert would not feel out of place. There was something that I wanted to say and I forgot what it was. God damn it.
It'll come to you.
Hopefully. Yeah, hopefully the ending of Horizon 2 also comes to me in a dream and I can tell all of you about it.
That's right.
Right. Well, first of all, Rias, I would love to see her back. I mean, she mean Kevin. Come on. Like, they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Estelle and Lloyd, I wouldn't mind. But I also wouldn't mind if they didn't show up. Lloyd, like, I don't want to say he should stay in Crosswell to protect it and all that, but I think it could work.
Yeah.
But it's a little hard to imagine for me for some reason. Same, well, no, actually, I was going to say same for Estelle, but there is Ren in Calvard, so she has every reason to, come along.
Give us playable Cassius, dude. Come on.
Man, I've been wanting playable Cassius for so long, you have no idea.
Come on. Like, dude, could you imagine the party? It's like Reen, Shizuna, Yun Kai-Fai, Cassius, Analase, Arios, Richard. It's like, dude, this is insane.
Okay, now it sounds like a party for the final arc. Damn.
Yo, seriously.
Like, would you want Cassius with a staff or a sword?
I mean, that staff destroyed me so many times. I might need the staff. I might need to use the staff. I lost to him a bunch of times in Sky the Third. That is for sure.
I've been talking about this with my viewers not too long ago, I believe. Some of them believe that he's probably stronger with the staff at this point, but who knows?
I want to say he is, but if he is rocking the sword, oh, that'd be so nice.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Going back to the theories, have you heard the theory that the green vestige, the soldier lady, might be an older fairy?
Enlighten me on that. I actually have not heard that.
I don't remember too many details right now, but well, first of all, she's a Jaeger-like lady, or soldier-like. I don't know why she has a sniper rifle, though. At first, I thought it was Ida, but it's not Ida, apparently.
Me too.
Yeah. It's not Ida, because they show a bit of her, like, face, I think, and she has silver hair for some reason, and she's a little brown-skinned, so that's definitely not Ida. Could be fairy, but then why would her hair be silver or white? I don't know.
Well, what about if that has a connection to what we saw from the Rosette route? What about, or I'm sorry, the Rosette like plot line, where like we know Rosette's from the future. So what about if we have like a situation where maybe that is fairy from like that Rosette time and like coming back attempting to, I don't know. I'm just thinking of stuff here.
That no,
it is,
you might be onto something actually. Go on. What did you want to say?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say like with how much we're playing with time here, and especially with that really the Rosette stuff in that final chapter really blew my mind because I was like,
yeah,
where are we going with this? This actually sounds extremely insane. But if that is an older version of Fairy, but she comes from that particular time period, then that would give Fairy an opportunity to be able to, number one, see what has happened within this particular version of the timeline. And also that would give us an opportunity to see what actually happened in Rosette's time. Because I feel like we need somebody from that time to come in to tell Rosette exactly what it is that took place in her time period.
That actually just reminded me, that theory video that I mentioned, it brought up a crazy point, which is when in one of the flashbacks for Rosette, they show the year that she came from. I think it's like 1250 something, which is way far in the future. So, and something that they also point out is that at that time, the scenes that they show appear to not really have technological advancements, and that's why that timeline made it that far into the future.
That makes sense to me.
Same.
It really does.
Same.
Yeah. Yeah. So it once again, it's not based on a year thing. It's based on a when technology gets to a point to where humanity's like, all right, it's time for a reset.
Yeah.
They're getting too close to God. Oh. It's time to take down the Tower of Babel and bring things down just a bit.
I just remembered something else as well. He brought up the point that the cube, or the Septarian of Time, only activated when Emilia breached the atmosphere. So
yeah,
that might have been the sign that, oh, technology has advanced far enough for a reset.
Right.
So
when man makes it to space, that is the time for the reset.
Yeah, possibly. It's either that, or I guess, I don't know, maybe if something crazy happens on Earth, but I don't know.
Right.
Is there something you want to add to this? Because there's another thing that yeah?
Well, it could have been not Amelia. What about it? Because remember, Reen made it to the atmosphere. Well, no, but Reen made it to the atmosphere in the original ending. In the original Cold Steel 4 ending.
True. See, it's things like that. You look at that, and you're like, okay, what implications does that have? Because they didn't show us at the time.
Right.
But, you know, Horizon showed us that might have implications. So are they going to connect that to this, or are they not?
I think they have to, because it's all based on what Ishmelga was going to tell Lloyd. Ishmelga specifically was going to tell Lloyd about what he saw in space when he went up in the Close to 4 ending. So that means he saw something up there, whether it was the Septarian of Time or something additional up there, where it was like, I have to warn Lloyd and the boys about this because it's coming. And that's when Lloyd was told, no, we'll take care of it when the time comes. So we have to get into that at some point, whether it is like similar to a Horizon 1 situation where Reed and Crow see the actual reality for what it is, because their original versions went up to space, and so we get a sort of moment where it's like, it could be like a split second where Reed and Crow are like, oh man, my memories, and they get like their memories back for a quick point of that timeline, and that's how we find that out, or we actually see it for ourselves in some crazy weird way.
And then there's also the whole thing.
What did you think about the?
Yeah, go on.
Oh, go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
I was going to change the topic entirely, so you go ahead.
I was talking about the Anya's thing, because you know how the Sunshine Anya's quest line sort of alludes to the fact that this is like an older version of Anya's that's sending this thing to them. Yeah. So that has to come back and connect at some point as well. Like, where we're playing with time in so many different ways within the side quest. Daybreak 2 was all about setting up this whole time thing.
Yeah.
And how the Genesis has been playing with time for such a prolonged period. So answers, man. We need answers.
We do. Sunshine Agnes also confuses me because the Agnes we see in the novel is nothing like the Agnes we know. So how does that connect?
Right. Alternate reality, man. Alternate universe. One of the original timelines had that Agnes. Whether I don't know which reset it was, but it was definitely another reset version of Agnes.
Yeah.
But then it's like, then how did that connect over here? If that wasn't a different reset, how did that novel manage to make it to this time period? Is Agnes in this state that she's in right now, post Horizon? Does she have the ability to go into other reset timelines? I don't know, man.
I don't know why, but I had the impression that with what she's done at the end of Horizon, she can't undo that, basically. So
yeah,
it's hard to say if she's going to return at all, even in like a new cycle.
Right.
But with Trails, I'm sure they're gonna find a way.
Oh yeah.
Something of interest as well is you have Yume and her family. Yume and her family, they do not tell us their last name. There has to be a reason.
There has to be a reason. And there has to be a reason why those three in particular made it all the way up onto the tower at the end of the game. And why Yume keeps having these weird moments.
Yeah, the eyes.
Yeah, the eyes. So there's something there for sure.
There's something else about this point. I don't know if it's a coincidence, it could be. But one of the alternate hair colors for Shizuna is exactly like Yume. Same for the eye colors. Do they have anything to do with each other? It's something I've been thinking about because Yume is not like an English or European name or, you know, anything of the sort. It's a Japanese name. But then you have Paulette. Yeah, you have Paulette, which is not a Japanese name. Maxim, not a Japanese name. Victor, the grandfather, not a Japanese name. Shizuna is a Japanese name. Why did they give Shizuna an alternate hair color that's the same as Yume with the same eye colors? Is there something there?
That's interesting.
Or are we thinking too much about it?
Dude. I don't know if we are because of this whole timeline thing, you know? I don't know if we are.
Yeah. See, usually I might scoff at like timeline stuff, but I feel like the way Horizon did it, I don't know, man. It's just so intriguing because maybe it's because they like built up so much lore and just like information throughout the series that the possibility of a lot of it being different or like a lie or whatever, it's intriguing, you know?
Yeah. You blew my mind with that one. That is so true.
Oh, I
And
did.
it's so interesting. Like, she only has, she's the only one with a Japanese name in that entire family household.
Mhm.
And then it's the eye thing too, man. It's like what's going on with Yume, and it's been consistent.
I'm actually, hold on. Let me send the screenshot to you directly on DMs. I might show it on the
Okay.
podcast with the edit as well. But yeah, look at that.
Ooh, yes, I see it.
I did talk to
Man.
some of my viewers who play Trails about this in particular, with Shizen and Yume. I think one of them said that they don't think that they really have much to do with each other because Mare already sort of has a connection with Yume. If we throw Mare into the equation, how does that fit in with all of this? You know, that's another thing to consider.
We know that Shizuna, based on her final side quests or her final, I forgot what that thing, the bonding event thing.
Right, the connection event, yeah.
The connection event. She has a state not extremely similar to the Grendel, but where she loses herself in like a completely like the ogre-like state.
Ogrine, yeah, kind of like
now, like kind of like Ogrine. So, if Ogrine was based on the curse, then what is this based on? Because it's got to have a base in something. Maybe it is Grendel-esque, and if it's Grendel-esque, she could have a connection to a mare of sorts. If that's the case.
Well, with Reen, the ogre form was like the source of it was the curse in Erebonia. Here, though, they do say that the blade is cursed. Now, what is the significance of that?
True.
I have no idea. But this one seems to be object specific. Unless they say otherwise later. Something that I found bone chilling. Man, there was a lot of lore drops, but one of them was when they said artifacts are like they're just normal technology from previous cycles. That's crazy. That's crazy.
That blew my mind, dude.
Same.
Because
it made sense.
But this is my thing, right? It makes sense, and the fact that Growlsritter are doing everything they can to ensure that no one knows what these things are. They are on the hunt for these artifacts, so they know about these resets.
Yeah.
They know they come from something else, and it's like,
Well, actually, hold on. Okay, I think you're right. I was gonna say, do they know about them? Because if you remember, oh man, this is another great reveal. But when Emilia falls down near Kevin and friends, and then Kevin is like, "Wait a minute, I've seen this before." Oh man. Oh man.
Oh, I just got chills right there. Yes, that's true. It was like a deja vu moment.
Yeah. Dude, it's such a great scene. So I'm not sure if Kevin knew, even though he's Growlsritter, like top-ranking member as well.
So, but that means someone really high in the Growlsritter knows, like whether it's Ein or someone knows about this.
Nina most definitely knows.
Nina, for sure. Yep.
I think Nina. I think they mentioned. Was it the bishop, archbishop, someone like that? The Pope.
That was an insane reveal too, man.
Yeah.
The Nina stuff. I still can't believe that's.
Oh yeah. Man. Apparently, the Emilia statue is mentioned in Sky SC when Kevin checks the underground of the castle.
What? There's no way. I didn't know that.
See,
wait, bro. If
if
we see this in the Sky SC remake, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Same.
I'm gonna lose my mind.
The thing is, we don't know if he meant this one specifically or not, but they could conveniently make it so that, you know, this is the one. But
that's interesting. You're right.
Yeah, remains to be seen. Something relating to the artifacts as well is, no matter how much I think about it, the fact that artifacts are normal technology from previous cycles means that in the previous cycles, technology became so insane. And I have to ask, how did Claude or Professor Epstein make the Genesis? Like, there's no way
seriously
like a normal guy made these time manipulating devices. There has to be something to that.
Capable of even going toe to toe with the Septarian of Time.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what Anya's did at the end, right? So
yeah.
And it was the way that he knew, right? Like he specifically left behind a message for Agnes. This is going to happen in the year 1209.
Yeah.
Like you got to make sure these are all collected because something grand is going to happen in the year 1209. So it's like he knew that was coming. How did he know? Did notes messing with this thing? Did he peep into the future? Because that's crazy, man. How did they know?
Yeah. Another crazy theory that I've heard is, I feel like this one is believable as well. Have you heard of the theory that Renee actually loves Elaine?
I have not, but just on a personal standpoint, I 100% believe that. No doubt.
This one stems from a not just a screenshot or like a line, but also I think there's like voiced dialogue for this. When you fight him, I don't know what you do to trigger this, but he says something along the lines of, for the sake of, the text doesn't say who, but in the voiced line, you can hear Elaine. Now, he could mean that he's doing something for Van and Elaine, or it could mean that he's doing something for Elaine. Who knows?
Right. Like his love for Elaine is so strong that he did all this craziness.
Yeah. It is.
I actually didn't. I have not heard or seen that voice line. I gotta look into that.
Yeah, I might also do a quick search. If I do find it, I'm gonna send it.
But I have been thinking a lot about what this game is going to present, Horizon 2 specifically, regarding the like how we're going to find out, because the main party has to remember Agnes in some way, shape, or form. And I just want to know how we get to that point, right? Like, I'm trying to remember, in Daybreak 2, they remember what happened pre-reset in their mini resets due to it's like certain conditions, right? Like where they'd be like, oh wait, that's or no, I think it was more so they were the only ones that remembered what happened, and everybody else had like an inkling something happened, right?
Yeah,
that's kind of like how the reset's happening in Daybreak 2. So I can imagine something similar to that happening here, where everybody's gonna have an inkling that something is off, and then eventually, once certain conditions are met, whether it is, I don't know, meeting with Roy Gramhard or something that is so connected to Agnes, the birthday party thing, because we still have to connect back to the birthday party. Someone is going to have recollection of this timeline, and that is then going to fill in the blanks for everyone else. I just don't know how we get to that point. But I am so interested in that, because I love when any story does the memory loss route for a majority of individuals, and there's something that snaps them back. And I want to know what that thing is that snaps them back. So I've been thinking about that.
I'm kind of thinking, do you think it would be better if they gradually go from one person to another to convince them? Or would you think maybe like a literal snap would make everyone remember, and it would be like a moment of silence? I feel like that would be good.
That would also be good too.
Yeah.
And what would bring about that snap? Do you have any inklings?
It's really hard to say, but maybe something Grendel related.
Okay.
If we go to a new cycle, it might be a safe assumption that we don't have the Genesis. So...
True.
How would Van trigger the Grendel? Actually, wait. He did trigger the Grendel without the Genesis in Horizon, I believe. So it could happen.
Yes. Yep. I think that might be one of the discrepancies, where we see how Van would have done in that first fight, where he first activated the Grendel that you were talking about earlier in your favorite moments. Yeah. Where we will relive that, but we will relive it without Agnes and see how different it is this time.
Yeah.
Genesis wise.
Oh, by the way, I found the screenshots. Sending them over.
Perfect. Even if I have to throw everything away for the sake of, no matter what I must sacrifice for, as ooh. interesting. What are we cooking there,
See,
Kincaid?
the second one, when he says as well, that implies that he also cares about Van. But the first one is the other way around. It feels like it's just for Lane.
Right.
So I wonder where that's gonna go.
Me too. That dynamic is so special between those three.
Yeah.
And if we are going to center the entire narrative main thread around that, oh, it's going to be so peak.
I know. Like, we've seen harems. This is kind of like, this is a love triangle. But
correct.
It's possibly a lethal love triangle, and we don't know how it's going to go. Do you think...
It's Yakuza 1.
It really is, actually, yeah. It's exactly that. But do you think Shaddai is gonna join us against like a final boss in Horizon 2? Kind of like Cold Steel 2 with Green and Crow?
Oh, that would be so peak. I would just have to wonder what that is, because I think upon finishing Horizon, I definitely was thinking Shaddai is final boss for the entire Calvert saga. But if there is something beyond, do you think it's that thing that Emilia saw in space? That sort of like humongous, crazy-looking robot thing?
It's
that was
either...
we really didn't get any...
It's either going to be that, I feel like, or the Septarian of Time itself.
Good point. Actually, yeah.
I feel like thematically it makes sense.
Us fighting the Septarian of Time, yeah, you're right. Because then you would have to actually shatter the box yourself, right? The player has to shatter this thing that has been holding them, bounding them together. And then we're going to see what that box, what the Septarian of Time has been protecting us from. Because my assumption is the reason why these resets keep happening is because if they don't happen, something worse is on the other side.
Yeah,
and it's trying to stop us from getting to that point, you know? So I could see that. You're absolutely right. That'd be a perfect final boss.
There's kind of been a concern that's been raised. Well, I say raised as if it's like across the whole community, but really, it's just between me and some of the people that I talk to in my Discord with Trails. That with how grand the Septarian of Time is, how are the Septarian of Water and Wind going to top that? You know?
True.
Like,
very true. I genuinely have no idea.
There is a lot of mystery, I will say, with the water, because, you know, every time, I think it's been established, every time they try to sail away, they somehow end up right back where they started, right? Yep. So there is mystery in that, and I feel like using the sea as like a terrifying place can also be pulled off. But the wind, I have no idea what they're gonna do with that.
At the very least with the sea, I can see that being connected to the beyond, right? Because my assumption is whatever McBurn and them are from, there's a reason why we keep circling back and we can't make it to that point. So whether it is we do it through space or through the sea, I strongly believe that whatever is the beyond that McBurn talked about is on the other side of either the sea and or space, one of the two. So that'll be the fascinating connection point in that regard. But I agree with the water thing, that there's a lot of mystery there, and I really can't wait to see how we play around with that. But the air one really fascinates me because that's where the series started, right? Like when the series started, rails in the sky, going on the airships. That is how the series got its beginnings. So that may be a perfect one for us to finish on. Would be the Septarian of Wind that connects us back to the sky potentially, but that remains to be seen.
That's so thematic. It's beautiful. It might be a bit early to ask this, but I will anyway, because I feel like it's kind of sticking out its ugly head. But have you played The Legend of Nayuta Boundless Trails, and what do you think of the will they, won't they status it has with the main series?
I think they're only waiting until we get some more stuff with either the Grandmaster or with Ouroboros or the Beyond for that official connection to happen. And the only reason why I say that is because if we've connected the novels, if we've connected everything that we have so far has found its way into the narrative of Trails. This game without a doubt in my mind, is going to find its way connecting. Whether it was one of the resets, whether it was an alternate timeline, whether it was this timeline, whether the theories are true and we're looking at the Grand Master story, whatever the case may be, it's going to connect. I strongly believe so. I don't think it's just going to be a one-off, spin-off. Trails doesn't really do that. It'll connect in some way, shape, or form, and I think we may actually see that as soon as the next game. But that remains to be seen. But really fun game. Really, really fun game, man. Underrated game, too.
I've actually...
Trails games.
I've yet to play it, but I do know a thing or two, like spoilers-wise. And I'm actually... I mean, this is the spoiler section, so it should be fine to talk about it, but I did see the screenshot of, like, the chopped-off Earth, so I know about that.
Yes. Yes. That's what I'm saying. Like, so just imagine Horizon 2, we make it to the moon or something, right? And in this reset, or we defeat the Septarian of Time, and we look back and we get a very similar sight of the chopped Earth, and it's like, oh snap! And then there's the connection.
Oh man.
So
you know, outer space, like in general, not just in games, outer space in real life has always fascinated me because it's a vast place. Like, it's terrifying. Maybe in a way it's beautiful, you can argue, but it's terrifying. It's, you know, it's infinite. And seeing Trails delve into that, like, that idea, that terrifying world, it's just so uncanny to me in the best ways possible. There's so many things they can do, you know? And what Horizon did already is amazing. Like, I just can't wait to see where they're gonna take it.
One of the things I really loved about the novel, 2001, the movie obviously too, but the novel that Arthur C. Clarke wrote for 2001: A Space Odyssey was written before anyone had ever stepped into space. So it was sort of like, what are the possibilities that we could see once we actually make it up there? And then we have a comparison point of the movie, which was made around the same time that we actually did make it up into space. So what I want to see from Trails is continue to explore those ideas of this vast part of space that we have, like, absolutely no possible idea what's out there, but also in the conspiracy realm of, are the things that we've been told about space actually what is truly out there? Because that's a question Horizon 1 posed. It's like, the world has been fed one thing, but those who lived it know that it's something entirely different. To the point to where the broadcast wasn't even seeing the same thing. They were not allowing them to see the same thing that was in space until that was shattered. So I love that idea of hiding information from the general public in regards to space, because that is something that many of people, myself included, have wondered if and slash when that has taken place. So I love the fact that Horizon and Trails have been delving into that side of things too.
Same. And I still vividly remember, again, like, the reactions of people like Giscard and Esmeralda when they saw what's out there. So good. In regards to the cycles and resets, we know that people like Melchior apparently knew about it, because the Vestige Melchior talks about it a little bit, and it makes me think back to Dante saying Gehenna does not exist. Like, you know, him saying that and them knowing about the cycles, it does make me wonder just how much more they know. If they knew about the resets, what were they doing with, well, the chaos that they were doing? There probably is a purpose behind it.
What was the Pandemonium's original purpose? If that would have succeeded, what were they trying to do with that? You know, I've thought about that so much.
And if you remember, I think when the Pandemonium happened, wasn't there like a time stop?
Yes. Yep. And in the game, they were like, "Oh, this is like when the Grendel does its time stop." So it was a direct connection to that.
Yeah. So I wonder if that was... I forget if that was with the power of the Genesis, which I don't think it was, or if it has something to do with the Septarian of Time, which I'm not sure if that's possible either.
I believe it was the Genesis, but once again, the Genesis was created to combat against a period of time, so they would be connected either way.
It is kind of interesting how the corrosion that happened in Daybreak 2 is also kind of similar to the curse's effects on the people in Erebonia. And I forget what the implications of that were. Again, going back to that theory video that I mentioned, it brings a lot of interesting points. So if any of the viewers want more theory crafting, do check that out. So the video brings up Ishmelga, right? And when you kill Ishmelga basically says, like, why are you doing this? I was gonna help you bring so much chaos and ruin or stuff like that. And it goes back to the technology thing. Ishmelga may have wanted to slow down the Septarian of Time by destroying, by having all these wars, destroying technology. But then, what is Ishmelga's purpose? And it does go back to Cold Steel. Yeah, it does go back to Cold Steel because, like you and Kafai said, if they subjugate the Septarian of Steel, the world's fate is sealed, basically. So,
right.
Wouldn't that mean we have to go all the way back to Cold Steel? Like, how is that gonna go,
How is that gonna go? Exactly. I don't know, man. And that's the fascinating part about where we're going with this next game, because I've thought about like the crazy potential of us replaying certain parts of the older games remade, but I just think that would take too much work, and so that's the only thing that stops me. Like, if it was a novel or something, I'd be like, yeah, I could definitely see it, that we're going back to like Cold Steel, Crossbell, seeing things a little different. But maybe there are certain instances where we could do. I mean, it is taking like 3 years to develop this game.
I think
compared to the normal development time.
You know what they can do? Instead of like doing whole segments of previous games where you like move around and all, maybe they can do a thing like Daybreak 2's final boss, where it switches around. So you could be thrown into like a previous fight all the way back in a certain game, which, that will take resources and money, but not as much as if they had you, jump back to a whole explorable segment.
Dude, if they did that in this next game, that would be so unbelievable. Could you imagine being in the middle of a boss fight and it just goes back to like Cold Steel 3 or Cold Steel 4?
I know, right?
Oh, man.
Now that we're talking about that, I can actually see them doing something like that.
What does it mean when it says to be continued in Van's final episode?
Well, I want to say it doesn't mean more than we think it does, because they probably just mean that, Horizon 2 probably going to be the final game.
Yeah.
But if I remember right, I think they said, well, yeah, at some point, I recall hearing that they didn't want to make another arc as long as Cold Steel, but here we are. So who knows?
Yeah.
What about you?
So you don't think it means that he dies in the next game?
Oh, that's what you're alluding to?
Yeah, it's sort of like, I just wanted to see where your headspace was regarding that, because I know that at the very least in my side of things, I have seen that idea being brought up a lot in the community. So I just wanted to see where you were sitting, because I know you love Van as much as I do. So I just wanted to see where you were thinking of regarding that.
I really do love Van. Where did I put him? Top 2 Protag. Did a lot to basically earn my love. And despite that, if they had the courage to kill him off, assuming, it was well executed, it made sense, I'm more than down for that. We did talk about it earlier, but the series does kind of need... I don't want to say they have to kill off, like, I don't know, like a character every game or something, but thematic deaths can be so beautiful. And they do a lot to contribute to the storytelling, so...
It's gonna destroy me.
Oh,
badly.
same.
But if it were to happen, and like you said, if done in a well-executed way, where they have a clear plan put into place, oh man, it's gonna end up being one of the greatest moments in the series by far.
Yeah.
Just because we've never had an MC die, if that ends up happening. So, I'm just personally, because I do love him so much, I hope it doesn't come down to that. However, if it does, and that's what they were alluding to with Van's final chapter, then man, oh man, I gotta emotionally prepare myself.
Gotta brace yourself. Any other theory that pops in your head?
Not off the top of my head at this moment.
Oh yeah.
It's so unfortunate because I already know once I get off the call, I'm gonna be like, Oh yeah, that one.
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna happen to me too. I did think of something though. There was something about Novartis near the end.
Mm.
You had
Hmm.
Novartis and you had the Grandmaster showing up as well. Now, I don't remember what the Grandmaster says, but with Novartis, we kind of get introduced to the idea that this dude might be as crazy as he is because he knows about the cycles and because he's been
Yes.
trying to do something. I'm not sure if I would say about the cycles or to prove that I guess he's the best disciple that Professor
Right.
Epstein had, because if I recall
Hmm.
correctly, I think one of them, or like one of Van's party members, tells him that he's inferior to
Yeah.
the disciples, and he takes it really personally, like really
Really hard.
personally. Yeah, and it has the party wondering, like, what's up with him? I think that's when we find out that in a previous cycle, Novartis was like a disciple, and only him. It really does show that in each cycle, things could be drastically different. Like, if we hypothetically jump back to Daybreak 1 in Kai 2, maybe things are not going to be only slightly different. They might be more different than we expect. And that could go a lot of places.
Have you ever watched JoJo?
No, I know about it, though.
No.
No.
Okay. Now I was going to bring something up, that concept they bring up there, about heaven,
Go ahead.
because just piggybacking off of your point, I've been thinking a lot, going back to the Novartis conversation, what the Grandmaster says in that room, as well as what Yun Kai Fai says, where both Yun Kai Fai and the Grandmaster told both sides of the party that they are going to see them on the other side of heaven. So they knew that that was coming, in regards to the Grand Reset.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why are they calling this Grand Reset, both of them, the other side of heaven, or heaven just in general?
Wasn't
And
it
it goes back
something
to the
like,
Shaddai thing.
wasn't it the Heaven's Turn, if I believe, or is that something else?
Heaven's Turn. Heaven's Turn. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, if they're referring to that as Heaven's Turn, as if like that is the ideal situation,
Uh-huh.
um, I am, because I've been thinking about this for a long time in regards to the Grandmaster Ouroboros, these plans they keep putting into play that seemingly feel like it's going against them, but in actuality it feels like the Grandmaster is actually doing this for the betterment of the world. And
Uh-huh.
I just want to know, like, how many resets and or how far back do we go with the Grandmaster to the point to where she is doing all of this either for the betterment of humanity or for some purpose that we just, because these plans just, how does she know, like like at the end of Cold Steel 4, how was like, okay, it's time for the eternal reoccurrence plan, and it's
Mhm.
like, obviously that's what this is, right? Going back into even an idea brought up in psychoanalysis of eternal recurrence.
Yeah.
So it's like, what does she know?
Mhm. Mhm.
What does the Grandmaster know? Similarly, what does McBurn know, and how does that connect to this whole Grand Reset thing, as well as whatever's on the Beyond? Because what I'm going to assume is,
Mhm.
when we get to Heaven's Turn, which is this Grand Reset, and Reen ends up meeting Yun Kai Fai again,
Mhm.
and the party, because the Grandmaster guaranteed, I will see you again at Heaven's Turn. So we're
Mhm.
gonna run into the Grandmaster again in this next game. What is she going to reveal to the party that is going to be incredibly important information for where we take the series from that point forward?
Mhm.
Because apparently she couldn't tell us what she wanted to tell us
Mhm.
until we experienced the Grand Reset. So it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
The idea that Ouroboros is, yeah, doing what they do for the greater good is something that I did
Mhm.
think of like a few games ago, I want to say, because I feel like as soon as you saw some of the Ouroboros members like kind of mellowing out, like say
Mhm.
Phantom Thief B, Vita, even McBurn, Walter, it
Yep.
does kind of make you think like, okay, they may have started a bit rough around the edges, like they were kind of harsh, but you know, as time goes on, some of them genuinely aren't evil. They might do bad things,
Mhm.
but they have at least a shred of humanity in them. Clearly, they might be working towards something that just needs a bit of dirty work for the greater good. It made sense to me. The idea that the Grandmaster, you know, is working towards something like that, again, that also makes sense. And, you know, from her demeanor, it didn't seem like she's evil either.
No, not at all.
And then you have McBurn, which is still an enigma. And as soon as I saw the Grendel with Van, I immediately thought of the McBurn, yeah, demon form. And I was wondering what the connection was there. And I don't believe they delved into it. Did they mention something about them in Horizon? Can't remember.
I think at multiple points we brought up McBurn, but I just don't remember if they did so regarding the Grendel. I remember that they brought up in terms of strength. They would be like, oh, what's his face? The cowboy Ouroboros guy from Horizon is as strong as McBurn, or they referenced him like that.
Right.
But not in regards to the Grendel, from what I can recall.
You know, at first I thought the DG cult were experimenting on Van to recreate something like McBurn, but now we know that it's not just that, at least to an extent, because we have Shaddai. Right. Shaddai, I mean, maybe he's also a product of an experiment, but we haven't seen anything about that yet. I only mentioned her like once, but you have Mare. We still don't know what's up with her.
Yeah.
She mentions or brings up a lot of like blurred words as well. One of the people in my Discord said something like she might be similar to what's her name from Nayuta? Noi?
Oh yeah. Yes.
I think?
Yeah. I believe so. I'm telling you, man. Or that connection's coming soon. to Nayuta.
Nayuta truthers rise up.
100%. I do think that's interesting because Mare, similar to the Grandmaster, something within the world has stated that the party cannot hear certain pieces of information until something happens. So we can't hear what Mare is saying until we experience something. I don't know what that something is, but this thing that keeps getting blurred out, we haven't met those conditions yet. So, and it's also why the Grandmaster hasn't been able to tell us what she wanted to tell us too. And same thing with Yunkai Fi. So what does that mean? I don't know. But I'm assuming those three, Mare, Yunkai Fi, and the Grandmaster, those things that keep getting blurred out are a part of that thing. Those conditions haven't not been met yet.
It's easy, man. You just gotta play Nayuta, then present your save file to Horizon, and then they'll know.
That's it. That's all you gotta do, man. Just upload the memory card data.
Oh, yeah. Do you think Yunkai Fi might actually be the beast of time?
That would be sick. If he really is, that'd be sick.
I've heard that idea, but I'm not sure. Something I do wish they've done better is with the historical aspect of Calvard. Compared to Erebonia, it does kind of feel shoehorned in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Erebonia's... That is one of my favorite aspects about that arc, is that from jump, they paid so much to the history and lore of that arc, where it connected in almost every arc. Like going back as Cold Steel 1 with the introduction in Trista, and then going into Legram. Like there was so many parts where they just kept calling back to the past, calling back to the previous sections of Erebonia and the different age of Erebonia. And they've done that within these games. I just feel like they haven't gone as in depth as they did in Erebonia. Maybe they might do that next game.
They could. How would you feel about them showing us the Grand Collapse in Horizon 2?
I have been waiting. So as a One Piece fan, there's something called the Void Century in that series that's just like the Grand Collapse. And I am as excited for the Grand Collapse as I am for the Void Century. I can't stop thinking about it. What happened in the Grand Collapse that caused the Trails world to be the way that it is? Because anytime we see anything from that time period, and or like that the consequences of that time period created, so like the Divine Knights, the Dragon Beast from Cold Steel 3, all these crazy things, it's like, what happened, man? What happened during the Grand Collapse?
Yeah.
And I really want to see it.
Same.
I hope we get to play it like as like a section or something. We just go back to the past and play the Grand Collapse.
Yeah, definitely. because it is one of those pieces of lore that has so much mystery and intrigue to it, so I do think they should delve into it at some point. Not sure how they would approach it, but I feel like the execution there could make it one of like the highlights of the franchise.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and I feel like Horizon 2 is a fitting game to delve into it as well, if they do decide to do that.
Me too. Just like how Cold Steel 4 really went into Osborn's backstory, how that showed so much of Dreigel's story, and connected us to that era. I could see Horizon 2 most certainly doing that as well for the Grand Collapse.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to add to the theories, or should we possibly like call it a day? Because it's almost 5 hours in now. I don't want to take up too much of your time.
No worries. It's been an absolute blast. I'm trying to think if there is another theory, but none of them have popped into mind yet. I really can't wait to see what that Ishmelga Reen thing is. Like, what did he see in space that he was trying to
warn us about?
Warn us about, yeah. Like, what was that thing? Was it the Septerian of Time? Was it that big robot thing that Amelia saw? Like, what was it? Can't wait to get that answer next game.
Same. I'm so excited. And there's SC Remake as well, and I hope it leads into a third chapter remake. Yeah, so much goodness.
SC remade? Oh man, like I've been waiting for this because FC's remake was so good, and SC has so many of the most. It has like a plethora of iconic moments, and seeing those in that style, this is gonna be one of the greatest games ever, dude.
It really will be.
Insane.
It really will be, yeah. Like, goddamn, I can already see it being in my top 5. I already love SC, and I think I'm gonna love it even more now.
Yeah, same.
Right, well, is there anything you would like to say to the audience before we wrap up?
Y'all, thank you so much for following us on this journey. We've had a blast for these last 2 hours talking about Trails. It is a rare opportunity for us to get together like this, any member of the fandom, and discuss spoilers to this extent. So if you're out there watching this, let us know what you're thinking about all these insane theories, if you have any theories of your own, because I can't wait to see them and or read them. I want to thank everybody who's been a part of this Trails journey since I got into the series in 2019. It is truly something so incredibly special to me and important to me. It is the epitome of Goat Raw Fire and Peak. I can't even imagine my video game, my fictional experiencing journey without Trails now, and this conversation is exactly why I joined YouTube to begin with, which was just to talk about the stuff I love with other people. And so I really do appreciate you for having me on, man. It was a blast, and I hope that everybody had as much fun listening to it as I had experiencing it. So all love to you, brother. And super excited for the future of this podcast.
It's absolutely all my pleasure, and thank you so much for giving us like so much of your time to be here. It's been an absolute blast for me as well. And for the viewers, if you would like us to possibly do another episode sometime down the line, you know, you could maybe give us ideas of something you want to hear us talk about. We're all ears. We'd love to hear you out, you know, see what you got to say. I'm definitely down to, you know, do more episodes. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. And yeah, we hope you enjoyed, you know, hearing us ramble about Trails for almost 5 hours, I want to say. Well, I think the final cut might be 4 hours and a half. So once again, thank you for, you know, joining me for this long, Mr. King Recon. Really, really do appreciate it. If you guys would also check out his channel, I would also greatly appreciate that. If you're interested in gaming content, anime content, reviews, reactions, stuff like that, gonna leave the link to the channel in the description, so please check him out. And this is gonna be it for this episode, so why don't we say goodbye to the audience, Mr. King Recon. Thank you all for watching.
Have a good one, everybody. Take care.